I believe that Hawk and Amin are tougher than I am. They have seen me lament and whimper for a while now about, I don't think I'm a good leader. I'm bad at leadership. And I'm looking today from the 10th floor of this building in a very nice gym, and I'm seeing walk across the street, okay? I got Danny Benitez, I got Malley lugging a bunch of equipment, and I got Fuentes leading the charge, and they had to park at Bayside because I didn't know when we started this that parking would be really hard in downtown Miami. And I'm looking down there at them, and I'm like, you know what? I'm starting to like my team. They're three little gorillas, walking across the street carrying a bunch of equipment. It took me 4 years. I'm like, I haven't liked my team for 4 years, but I'm liking that they care like that because I've said for a while, you give me people who care, and we'll try and figure out how it is that we make something with them. And I've been thinking a lot recently. Because Jimmy Johnson's career is over and he chose one path at 50, right? Jimmy Johnson at 50 years old said, okay, I don't like what this shit does to me. I'm going to go be in a department over there. But Pat Riley chose to stay with it for the next 30 years. And now the whole machine comes for Grandpa. Because the way they lost against Cleveland last night, where even Spo looks bad, where you're like, what are they doing at the end of the game with those rotations? And what they're doing is they're not very good. And they're trying to figure it out. And when Tyler Hero's out, it's like, what the hell? We got Terry Rozier to do this.
Thoughts and prayers for Tyler Hero. He had a vicious head cold.
Wow.
That's his attempt at hockey player would have AIDS and still play.
Oh, no.
You guys got it. You guys got it.
No, that's not what I'm doing.
Okay.
That's not what I'm doing. Dan
it
is
sounded
right.
genuine.
No,
it sounded
Dan is
like
right
real concern.
Dan is right to point out the rotation is bad because they're bad. But the rotation is bad because they're holding out Tyler Hero for head colds because it's pretty obvious what's happening here over the last two games is I think the Miami Heat and its culture are trying to tank.
They won the last game they played before this one.
Head colds are going around. That's number one, something we cannot take lightly and should not take lightly.
Everything's going around.
Everything is going around. Two, the disappointment of, I guess, the way Terry Rozier played last night, which I was made aware of this morning because there's not a person on planet Earth who knows less about the Miami Heat than the guy that you're talking to right now.
You do this every time. You
it's
come
the
in
truth,
here,
though.
I don't know anything. What happened last? Oh, you guys lost?
I guarantee you watch them more than I do.
I promise I only get the Heat news when I walk in this building. And Terry Rozier.
Yeah, but you walk in the building saying, hey, guys, whatever happened with that Jimmy Butler situation?
I want to know.
All smiling.
Solid troll.
Where did that end up? Like, explain to me the last.
He's on Golden State now.
The last we left it,
Active hands.
there was something going on with Pat Riley
and
a disagreement about should he play, should he not. And I'm like, well, you know what? We're looking for topics for the show. I don't know if we have time and can fit it in, but where did that land, Dan?
Just because Jeremy was so quick to correct me that they won their last game. Yes, they beat the 12-win Wizards.
Yes, they did.
Congratulations to them. My apologies.
So the tank, it is a strange thing when you get culture meets tank. And what is the explanation for Terry Rozier playing the entire fourth quarter? Well, he's the worst player in the league statistically. He's shot 26% from three since January 1st. He's got 33 fouls, 33 turnovers, and 33 threes since January 1st. So you put in your worst player in the league and you aggressively try to lose against Cleveland, but you keep it close because everyone else has to care.
But also, it's his hometown team. So maybe they just fourth quarter against the hometown, put Terry in. This one's Riley just, being the good guy that he is.
It's not Riley's fault, man. He's too busy
giving
patrolling
him a nod.
and policing the ice cream.
What is it?
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chatting the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Dress too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for war, man, forget my peace. You take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise, move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys, not so tough, but man's keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize, right guys, let it tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan, if you wanna touch my please use caution. Stop that, stop that, stop that.
The second half last night, Terry Rozier 0 for 8, 3 turnovers, plays 22 of the 24 minutes, and it was like watching somebody who doesn't know how to play basketball try to play basketball. Let's play the clip from last night's game.
Wow.
Why are we doing this?
Come on, guys. So for the listeners, they're playing Philip Seymour Hoffman's basketball
This
scene
is
from
not
a long
scary,
time.
Terry. Make it rain. Raindrop.
It was abysmal. Like you're watching something in a Heat uniform you don't recognize, and it's like Eric Spoelstra, who called a timeout he didn't have earlier this season, was purposely putting in Philip Seymour Hoffman from Along Came Paulie to turn the ball over at half court with no one bothering him.
Hey, I have a history of being a part of a tank. The key to a tank is that the players can't know that it's the tank. It's like you just put Hawk at X receiver, and Hawk is like, man, weird. Hey, now they're finally getting it, right? But
About time y'all figured this out.
it is you got to be a wizard, no pun intended, to really be able to make all the pieces.
I'm watching Terry Rozier, and I hurt for him because it's clear his confidence is shot. Like his shots are not even close to going in.
No, it's one of those situations where I've seen coaches do this too. When a guy like Hawk complains about, y'all don't run no plays for me or whatever. Say, okay, here we go. We're going to force feed it every single time to prove that you're not good enough to have plays run for you. Right? Or
It's evil.
Yeah, it's evil, but it's like the ultimate exposure of, okay, you want it? All right, here we go. You think you're being underutilized?
Wait a minute.
Let's
So
utilize it.
Hawk's like, I'm ready. Yeah, throw it to me.
Mike, come on, let's do it. Finally.
Let's examine this for a second, okay? Because as far as Heat basketball goes over 15 years, this would represent the apocalypse of the last 15 years. For whatever Mike Ryan's complaints were about Kyle Lowry, that's the best teams they've had since 2014, the ones that had Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry trying to grit their way to the end of the line. But they've clearly been passed by, and this would have been unthinkable, unseeable a few years ago. Clearly been passed by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Clearly been passed by the New York Knicks. These were the teams that they stepped on their neck on their way to what the last 15 years of excellence has been here.
It seems like one guy is the cog in that whole scenario. Is the guy that you tried to get, Donovan Mitchell, has made the Cavs the best team in the East, maybe the best team in the league.
Well, there are a lot of other things in play that Amin can attest to. I mean, Jared Allen looks most like the ABA in the entire league, and him and Mobley give them a front line that the New York Knicks went through easily with Mitchell Robinson, and now it looks a little different the way they've formed the entire team, and Garland is your fourth best player.
Allen was hurt when Mitchell Robinson went through the Cavs.
Yeah, and also I just think that time goes by, and that was like I think their first playoffs for that group, and now they're not the same people they were a couple of years ago. And I think that this is like Cleveland is just a team that has matured. It's taken them some time. They've taken their lumps, but they've matured. And you throw in an addition of Kenny Atkinson as a head coach, and he's got a different outlook and a different way of strategizing. I think all that stuff conspires to give you a much better team, even though you look at the personnel. So it's the same guys that got ran through by Mitchell Robinson.
So how did Jimmy Butler end up on the Warriors?
Oh,
You.
yeah, that's a good question.
A trade.
Like what was the
This is
catalyst? At
I'll-
the end, how did it like ultimately end there?
Wiggins, Kyle
May I?
Anderson.
No. May I? So, on trade deadline day, there was like a 15-hour window where there was a chance. There was like, holy crap, Kevin Durant's coming to the Heat.
Yeah, that's what you said. I mean,
That's not what I said. First of all, I didn't say it on air. Second of all,
whoops.
that's not what I said.
And can I say this? This is the honest to God truth. This is the first time I've ever heard this.
There
by
you
the
go.
way.
See,
But ahead.
that's why I'm catching them up. This is like Cliff Notes.
swear.
Cliff Notes for anyone who has missed the NBA. Like I'll catch you up here. So the Suns were the only team that was willing to take Jimmy Butler, right? And so then the Suns and the Heat tried to do a three-way deal with the Warriors.
Okay.
The Warriors wanted Kevin Durant because somewhere along the line, the Suns said, you know what? We don't need Kevin Durant.
Yeah,
Don't
makes
ask me why,
Yep.
right? So deal was done. We're like, okay, Heat, you get a bunch of stuff, and Warriors, you get Kevin Durant, and Suns, you get Jimmy Butler. And then Kevin Durant says, I don't want to play for the Warriors. And so that deal kind of fell apart. So then the Heat and the Suns tried to make something happen, but then Kevin Durant said, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to finish the season in Phoenix. So then the Warriors and the Heat were like, well, what about us? Now, mind you, a little bit earlier in the year, the Warriors just said they don't want any parts of Jimmy Butler because they don't want to pay. It's not about now. It's about 2 years from now. Well, somewhere along the lines, I guess because they started losing a lot since then, and also Steph Curry was depressed and stuff. He's like, man, every day I got to do everything myself. This is too hard. And so the Warriors are like, okay, maybe we can pay him. And then meanwhile, the Heat were like, okay, we kind of we'll take Andrew Wiggins, we'll take Kyle Anderson, we'll take.
Yeah.
I have no idea why you were so eager to do this.
Because I'm catching them up.
This is
Some people weren't. You know what, Dan? You assume too much. You assume some people didn't know or just know everything. But people like Hawk are like,
feel
hey,
smarter.
love the show.
So
Haven't
ultimately,
kept up.
that's how he ended up with the Warriors.
So let me explain to thank you for catching him up
You're
on
welcome.
the slow
Sorry.
report on news that's 10 days old or
More than 10 days.
or more than 10 days old. Good.
About a month.
Even
month old.
Okay, even older than I thought. Thank you. I
Hey, there
appreciate
was a Super
that.
Bowl. There was a combine. The guy was missing.
my head was deep in the football.
Now he knows. Now he's back up to date.
The thing that I want to analyze here is because I tried to start yesterday with a wink joke about it wasn't cookies that LeBron had on the flight, it was ice cream. Everything I said was true. LeBron James got mad because the nutritionist took away his ice cream. He didn't like it. The moment he didn't like it, they brought back the ice cream. The story is a ridiculous one that's being told that Pat Riley was micromanaging the cookies and the ice cream. I thought it'd be funny to point out to the audience that right now Pat Riley is so under it that the people who care about him, the people who care about the things he built in 50 years and specifically the things he built over the last 30 are getting mad that in the new age you can just say anything and it becomes a thing that is true about Pat Riley because everyone's feeding now on an organization they haven't quite been able to feed on in 20 years because of how obvious it is that they've been passed by Boston and Milwaukee and New York and Cleveland, but somehow not Philadelphia. And I'm asking you too, as experts in sports and experts about what it takes to continually get to excellence in sports. I saw Jimmy Johnson at 50 say, this is too much for me. I don't like it. The life balance, what it turns me into, don't like it. I'm going to do television for 30 years. I saw Pat Riley try television with Bob Costas for a year and say, I don't like that. I'm going back to the grind. He's 78 years old. There's literally no reason for him to be doing any more of this except he can't quit it. And now he's getting devoured by the machine because his team stinks. And his coach can be questioned if indeed they're tanking because of how bad he has been this year. Mike says no blame for Spo. You could spread it all around. And also, Tyler Hero has a head cold, and they're playing Terry Rozier way too much.
It's going around.
Is he under it? This is not like Matt Eberflus in Chicago. This is a very charmed existence that Pat Riley's had, as this has been predictable in that it was predicted on this show. This is the wrong course of action.
You got it exactly right.
Yeah, but a lot of people did.
That started before they went to the NBA Finals. I think it's important that we contextualize when we were starting those predictions. I just think that matters.
Well,
in this conversation.
Mike Ryan didn't want
Could have
to.
got Wemby, is what they're
They
saying.
could have
back
got
here.
Wemby.
We're still
You know
doing
that.
that.
You know
you
that.
can't
You
with
know
me.
that.
Cannot with
You
know
can't
that.
with
They
me.
could have got Wemby.
We're
All
here.
right,
What
that's
was the
fine.
chance
All
they
right,
could
we're
have got
here.
We're in the end
We're
game now.
here. It's
We're in
fine.
the end game now. You lost. You were wrong. You sounded like a
couldn't have been
moron
wrong.
for 2 years.
That's crazy.
You sounded like an idiot.
It was impossible
We're
to be
here.
wrong.
You don't still push back.
This is unbelievable.
You're Terry Rozier right now, jacking up threes from half court,
Mega
giving up pick
you haven't
sixes.
watched a game in the 2.5
Look,
years since the prediction started.
See what I mean? Matt
You just said we
Eberflus
should
didn't
trade
have a
Bam. He
Jeremy
had 38
Taché.
points last night.
Eberflus never had a
Good
Jeremy Taché.
Lord.
Never had one.
So how is Jimmy Butler doing with the Warriors?
Really
good. Yeah,
really good.
Playing, like
Okay.
the offensive numbers are a little confusing, but defensively, it's there.
Okay, make a note.
He's taking pressure off Steph. So,
And so
Steph's
the
crushing
big
right
thing
now.
is like just the attention he draws and the fouls he draws makes life easier for everybody else. Even though his shooting numbers aren't so great, but also as Mike said, defensively, he's like another Draymond for them. So they've got a lot more flexibility.
Sorry,
and
Dan.
they've been winning.
I'm just getting caught up slowly. I don't want to derail the conversation.
They're like 9
Every once in a while, I have a couple questions every here and there.
It's okay, Dan.
all
It's just
Jimmy
clip notes.
Butler doing decent.
We got Butler covered, though, right? You're not going to ask about that again.
They won 9 of their
Butler,
last
we're
10
good.
games.
I got Butler.
Or 8 of their last 10 games,
Yeah.
excuse me. So really good.
For sure.
I would actually like to hear Mike and Jeremy genuinely care about being on different sides of this argument. I'd like to hear from both of you.
One at a time.
Do not just shout him out of the room, Mike. Do not.
I've gotten my watched last night. Watched Adrien Rozier, the
Did
defense
you?
rest. No, I didn't. I watched the.
I mean, I
the
can't keep having
2-minute
a
highlight
conversation
reel.
with a person who's going to talk to me like I don't know what I'm talking about.
I saw
But I've
the
watched
box
every
score.
game in those 2.5 years that he hasn't watched. Saw the box score,
And
though.
yet-
Dan, is this what you feel like with Stugotz?
And
is
yet-
this it? Do I finally understand what you're... Whoa.
No, the defense rest. Can't get a word in edgewise. So why would I?
That's
even-
typical.
Why would I even argue? Why would I even argue? Yes, I would maintain that I know more about the Miami Heat than someone that actually watches them every day, because I've been right every step of the way. Everything that I said was going to be bad turned out to be bad, while you were there at every corner telling me, no, it was actually going to be good.
Imagine watching them every day and then being that wrong.
It was good. I don't understand. Whatever. You're transitioning from one era to the next. You're having one season played 500 basketball, and it's the end of the world.
Who would
It's
they
the
be
end
tanking
of
for?
the world.
Cooper?
They're not tanking. In their last
they just-
in their
The
last
answer's
5
yes. The
games,
answer's
they're
yes.
in their last 5 games, they're 3-2, and they've combined, I believe, to lose by 9 points to the number 1 and 3 seed in their conference. And last night was on the road without 5 of their players. They're a mediocre team. Terry Rozier has played horrendous basketball. He's been really, really bad. And that trade of Kyle Lowry and a pick to get him, nightmare of a deal.
So
you
why,
defended that deal.
At the time, it was the right move.
There's a caveat.
You wanted Kyle Lowry shot into the sun.
Yes, and I was right there too.
Phoenix or
There's a
I'm trying to just kick
That's where Jimmy wanted to go.
really well.
Jimmy wanted to go to Phoenix originally.
Phoenix.
He ended
He
up in
want-
Golden State.
Jimmy wanted to go to the Suns. Mike wanted Kyle Lowry to go
Shot
to
in-
the Suns.
Yeah, that's right.
That was a joke he was making.
Man, I came in today feeling so calm
It's
and
all right.
relaxed.
It's okay. I just one caveat about the whole tanking, no tanking. So their first round pick goes to Dan. Guess where?
Oklahoma City.
Exactly right. It goes to Oklahoma City if it is
They're good.
outside of the top 16.
It's
So
usually a good guess.
So technically, there is a path for the Heat to keep their first round pick and make the playoffs. It would have to be as a play-in team. So being the 6th seed for them, actually bad. Being 7 or 8 really is the best case scenario for the Miami Heat.
3-2 sounds like it's along those lines. Question: why did they take away the ice cream? If it was indeed ice cream.
The nutritionist made that decision. That was not a Pat Riley
The nutritionist.
decision. The
Got it.
nutritionist just took away the ice cream. LeBron complained about it. They brought back the ice cream.
Did they fire the nutritionist?
They did not fire them.
Still there?
Got it.
I don't know whether he's still there or not.
That's a he. Okay, we narrowed
He.
it down.
Narrowed it down. Okay. This
So,
is good.
So to the
Information.
original point.
Actually,
that-
that's just my sexism show.
to the original point that Pat Riley feels like he's under it and has to defend himself against this ice cream
No, wait.
story.
Be clear on this. Hold on. Be clear on this. I want to be clear on this, okay? Very clear on this. Pat Riley has not reached out about any of this. I don't know how engaged with social media of any kind Pat Riley is, but the people who care about Pat Riley and care about what he has built in Legion reached out to tell me that that story wasn't true, the way that it was being presented, because they are mad on behalf of Pat Riley that things get said that aren't true. This is something, Mickey Harrison has had this complaint with the Miami media and the media in general for the entire time he's been owner.
He thinks that the Miami media is unfair to the Heat.
He thinks the media is filled with inaccuracies, things that aren't true.
Wait, he
Fake
thinks
news.
that wait, Mickey Harrison thinks that the local media that covers the Miami Heat is too inaccurate and too harsh?
The media in general, just the media in general gets it wrong a lot. It's a frustration the Heat have had for a long time.
Yeah, I remember a very public instance in where Mickey got involved and said that the media had it wrong. It was with Shams. When Shams said Jimmy Butler wanted out. Who was wrong there? Shams, the media, or Mickey and the Miami Heat? So I want to follow the inaccuracies of the unfair media to the Miami Heat. If it's not on the local level, it's on the national level. Well, that was one big national media story that he got directly involved with, and factually, he was wrong. He went at the guy with the most journalistic integrity and the best accuracy record amongst the insiders, and he was wrong. That wasn't unfair. Shams was right.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Butler didn't go out at anybody.
No.
We're talking about.
No, I'm talking about Mickey. Because when Shams started reporting, Mickey and the Miami Heat and Pat Riley put out a press release. They were very aggressive in that this is not true.
Right.
Even Bernie Lee got involved, playing both sides.
Well, yeah. The I don't know how. Look, you're caught up.
I'm getting there. Not quite yet.
That was
I'm
Sean Connery, by the
tell
way.
me
just
what I
saying,
am.
like the one,
There's still holes.
the one public gripe that I know that Mickey took exception to about the media and its coverage being lies ended up being true. Jimmy Butler did want out.
This is my opinion of every single franchise, every single owner, every single GM, every single coach, every single player who complains about the media gets it wrong. Tough shit.
Yeah.
Tough shit.
I like that take.
You don't like it? Create the narrative that works, and you know what works a lot is winning.
Well, to be fair, by the way, I just put words in Mickey Arrison's mouth. I don't think anyone has heard him complain.
Oh, I saw him on Twitter. No, he was
publicly.
complaining.
Okay.
He was upset about the Shams report.
Okay, so
and he was wrong.
but I'm just saying in general over the last 25 years when I tell you that Mickey Arrison's gripe is complaining about media inaccuracies, I don't know that anyone has heard him say that in his voice publicly.
No, he's got a Twitter account. Like he's spoken for himself on this front, and it ended up being wrong. Now he may turn around and argue, well, at the time I was right, but you went at the guy that once reported Trump had COVID before anybody else.
Well,
like,
they're
psycho.
So that people like just understand, since Hawk is asking.
Yep.
So whatever it is to have a poisonous work culture, you guys help me here because you guys have worked in professional sports. But I will tell you that the relief in that building that Jimmy Butler is gone, not just because of what's happened over the last couple of months, but because of how things were bent to him. And if you talk to enough Heat people, you will know that they felt like they were dealing with something, and they were not saying this publicly in any way, an unstable ingredient that they used as a furnace and fuel to get to the championship. And then when it became about money problems, nobody wanted to be at work. Like nobody wanted to be at work around this person who was an unstable element.
As I understand it, even when they were cooking, that was the case.
This is long before even the recent mess of stuff. Just a bunch of look. I don't know. How do you guys? Let me just ask you guys. I want to know how I can do any of this stuff responsibly. This stuff that I'm about to do. When Kevin Love is talking to you about panic attacks, or when DeMar DeRozan is talking to you about depression, these are places where people are dealing with mental stuff that's difficult, and they're volunteering it to you. How will you guys recognize, outside of Antonio Brown and some stuff, when one of these ingredients that is burned through this furnace of sports has become what it is? And if you ask that person, hey, should you get some help here, just like some help, it's not an insult. It's just, can you get some help? Can you get some help in a place that like, how do you navigate that conversation privately? How do you navigate it publicly if somebody doesn't actually want to have it with you?
You're a little vague here, Dan. What exactly are you talking about?
I am talking about whatever difficulties are presented by Jimmy Butler in private that we'll never have any idea about because you've got one of the most private organizations in sports, and they cannot, and they certainly can't do it now because it would be smearing, but for somebody to tell the real story with all the details that would make it known what it's like to ride the furnace of Jimmy Butler in Chicago and Minnesota and in Miami without it being a protection or both a defense of the Miami Heat and a smear of Jimmy Butler. How do you walk that line?
You're reminding me of something where I think Mickey Arison has a point. Because after the trade, was it in The Athletic, the very pro Jimmy Butler kind of spin, POV, on what went wrong in Miami that I thought was very unfair, invoking his father, having known behind the scenes exactly where the Miami Heat organization met Jimmy on those things. I think that's right for Mickey to have a gripe with how that was presented.
Let's just make it this way, okay? Let's just do it this way. Hey, Jimmy Butler's grieving. A person who may or may not be introspective about this, Jimmy Butler is grieving. How do we handle that as an organization? Just make it that simple. Don't even make it any more complicated where the combustible stuff is. Just Jimmy Butler's a little broken. How do we tell him to go get help or go talk to somebody about what he's going through? How do we assist that person?
I don't know if that's the organization's place to do that.
Yeah.
I think you say, hey, we're here for you, whatever you need. Hey, whatever resources you need, you could talk to us. Hey, I've been through the same thing.
But what if it means not working all the time?
I'm just saying, like, look, man.
What if it's a convenient thing to hang on to?
I mean,
for Jimmy Butler's camp, because the Miami Heat were very considerate of Jimmy when he was going through that and well after. This is something that has dragged on and was once again invoked when this thing happened a while ago.
I mean, I don't want to minimize anything because people go through things really, and obviously we've all, have had our own struggles and moments of, mental health situations because life is hard. It's hard for everybody. But I would say if I'm the organization, I can't tell them exactly how to handle those situations because I'm not an organization. They are. And this is not their first time going through that with all the history of dealing with athletes. But it does come along with the territory. And I would say the same thing to athletes. Like for any player that has to go through certain mental health situations, yes, that is a tough thing. That doesn't mean it's not valid. But to play in this game, it comes along with the territory. The same with the media inaccuracies. This is where we are in life, Pat Riley or whoever, because this is a part of it. The same time they'll love you when you're winning championships, you'll get the other side. And if a player is going through it, much like any injury history or anything, like you have to navigate that. That's not an excuse.
If I may, this may be a crude view on it, but the things that we're focusing on right now as a result of that piece that was very slanted in the direction of Jimmy Butler, that's what you brought on by putting your backups against the wall and saying this is not true, we're going to keep Jimmy Butler. This was all of this mess is what you brought on yourself by not capitulating on the Jimmy Butler thing when you probably should have a year ago or over the summer when he was saying purple and gold looks good or when the Shams report came out. At every turn, Miami was stubborn and said no, and at every turn they made the wrong move.
Okay, and let's do it this way now. Let's make it human and take some of the pieces out on some of the details here, okay? The entire Miami media and the Miami Heat protected Jimmy Butler's privacy when his father died, protected how Jimmy Butler needed to be in and out of games, did a bunch of stuff for Jimmy Butler that they usually don't do, and did a lot of stuff over the time Jimmy Butler was here in 5 years to serve his needs. But in this one, where the relationship breaks apart, what does the organization think it's owed from its relationship with Jimmy Butler when it holds his hand through that situation? What does it think it is buying in the relationship so that when Riley and Butler are meeting in the meeting, and this was in that Athletic piece as well, you didn't get this information.
I didn't read that.
It was leaked that Pat Riley was crying to Jimmy Butler, trying to connect in places where the relationship with the father is gone around grief, and then it was used to smear Jimmy Butler. And then after that, both sides are accusing the other of you're unhinged. And I'm legitimately asking you, where feelings reside, you guys are just on this tough stuff where it's like, doesn't matter that the media is getting everything inaccurate. Doesn't matter that you're grieving and that your dad died. Doesn't matter that you're just suffering and broken and think you need more from the organization than it's giving you. That relationship broke apart at the end with Jimmy Butler mocking that Pat Riley was crying about the death of the father stuff. Like, that's where that broke. That's the last stain on that relationship. That was the punctuation.
I think we're overanalyzing. Sorry, what we're talking about right now is the Joker, Jimmy, walking away from the hospital that's blowing up and behind him. Like, he makes a mess when he wants to get his way out. He got his way, and Miami is still dealing with the mess.
All of this can be summed up with, as Jeremy and I said a month ago now, if they had paid Jimmy when he said, I need to get paid, would we be talking about any of this?
No.
All right, that's it.
No, but if
That's
they
all-
also, when they made the decision that they weren't going to pay Jimmy,
if they had moved him,
if they had moved him there,
then and either or, right?
Yeah.
Either or.
Oh, but hold on a second.
But
though.
then it really boils down to that. All this other stuff is window dressing.
You can boil it down to that, but even if he plays and gets his money, they're still not good enough. My point from last night's game is, hey, Cleveland's better, and they would have been better with Jimmy, and the Knicks kind of better now.
But Danny,
like whatever it is.
Danny, you went a roundabout story about people crying and fathers dying and therapy. And
He
all
did
those
that.
things.
He did
I
that
did-
to me by bringing up Jimmy Butler again.
I literally have no idea whose father died. So the idea that I said it doesn't matter, I
everybody's
don't know.
father
Pat's
died.
father
Everybody's
died.
died.
Jimmy's father died.
My father passed as well, but I don't know who's crying about whose dad in this damn situation. I'm going to read the Athletic article. I will get around to it, but I'm just trying to figure out. Also, with those connections being made, and I get like, it feels like from the lack of information I do have, that you're saying that whenever a team or an executive, or if it's Pat Riley, he makes these concessions that he never makes with a player in an effort to connect, like where is the loyalty or the return of that grace in these situations, correct?
I'm saying that I'm guessing that Pat Riley expected a return of the grace and didn't get it.
And I would say, would he be giving the grace if Jimmy Butler wasn't as good of a basketball player as he is?
Oh, but this is the poison of being in charge all your life. The amount of ego that must be on Pat Riley making all of the decisions for 50 years. Like you think Belichick and Brady had a disconnect on where player and management meet. Like Pat Riley, when I'm describing to you, I've had 3 people in sports show me up close what real sports excellence looks like. It's Ricky Williams, it's Jimmy Johnson, and it's Pat Riley. Jimmy Johnson didn't actually show me. He wasn't introspective enough. It was the people around him who showed me what it is that it took to be Jimmy Johnson's kind of excellent. But he got out at 50 because all of this shit was too hard, and he didn't like who it made him. Mm-hmm. This person is 78 and has no legitimate reason to do this. Give me all the 78-year-old leaders who are still doing this in sports at the top of the food chain, in sports. Give me all the 78-year-olds who
Jerry
are
Jones?
still allowed to be in charge.
That's a great point. I'm just trying to get a clear idea of the gambit. In the history of South Florida sports, 3 people showed you what greatness was.
In sports, look, let me see the insides of it.
Okay, because of your relationships there.
That's right. I'm not talking about Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say, like, Dwayne.
No. I'm not talking about Dwayne, LeBron, Shaq. No, I'm talking about getting to see the insides of how these things are made and what it does to your family to be at the center of like the furnace. It was too much for Jimmy Johnson. Pat Riley stayed there 30 years later and is now trying to make it work with Terry Rozier. And I'm asking you guys, as we walk through all of this, how's this going to end? Because Spo's having a bad year. Spo's having like the hit they've taken on where it is that Jimmy walks out the door and he takes the culture with him. Like he goes 9-1, he takes the culture with him the way LeBron took the culture with him.
I know the way that I want it to end as someone that's been critical of their approach over the last couple of years, even coming off of the NBA Finals, which feels like a crazy outlier. It ends however Pat wants it to end. He made this franchise relevant. He's won 3 titles. This isn't that bad. They're still in the mix for a possible playoff spot. And I would say in terms of like a vibe check, this is probably the worst it's ever been. And that includes the year that they were tanking for Beasley or Derrick Rose. It's really bad right now, but he deserves all the time that he wants to get it right. And if he decides that he wants to bow out gracefully, he's entitled to that too. There is no one here on this show, and I don't even think it's a real good faith argument on the internet. You may find like an egg or two on social media, but I think South Florida is pretty much a consensus opinion that Pat Riley gets to write the end of his story however he sees fit.
The organization is in a weird place right now because they didn't get the ending that everyone would have wanted with Jimmy, whether that was a championship or whether that was moving on before having to have the ugly divorce. But Riley put himself now in a position, with that trade or not, whether the rest of this season is any good or not is a separate question. But he has one more opportunity this offseason to leave the team retooled or see through one more build of this, however he wants to go about it. But they're not in shambles as an organization. They're not even in shambles as a team outside of their health at the moment.
Yeah, Dan, this is cyclical, right? There's no team that gets to be consistently awesome every single year. This is how this thing works. You're going to have down years, right? If we look at what are we looking at? Are we looking at a snapshot? Are we looking at a calendar? Are we looking at an almanac, right? If we're looking at a snapshot, yes, the Heat are down, the Knicks are up. If I give you the last 5 years, I'm not even like a long time, 5 years. I think we can agree that the Heat have had a better 5 years than the Knicks.
I'm looking at the next 5 years. Like, I'm looking at half a season.
But that's my point.
But Mike Ryan's been telling you, for 2 years, he's been telling you, and we've watched this happen. It's pretty rare for it to happen this way. In the bubble, we saw Boston and Miami met at the rim. Tatum was blocked by Adebayo. These were equals. They somehow were equals. And then Boston just passed them in a way that right now leaves them in a place we have not seen in 15 years in this market.
I would say that talent-wise, they were never equals. They were always, and I said this and everybody got mad. I said,
great point.
They're way more talented than the Heat. The Heat win because they're disciplined, because they execute, because they get people who fit the way they want to play better than any other organization in the league. And they were able to extract value out of we do it right more often than you do it. And you guys are talented, but you'll wilt under the pressures. Now, what Boston did over time was, their talent just got stronger mentally.
They took the lessons from it. I mean,
right?
They had to change the dynamic of their team.
They made changes in, like, I won't call it the margins. They made little changes here and there. But also, Tatum and Brown got better. The already more talented players got even more talented because they got more mentally talented at this.
And it should be noted, this was 5 years ago. This isn't like, I know we're microwaving some of the discussions that we've had since then, but it's been a while.
So when you talk about the Miami Heat, first and foremost, the day Jimmy Butler got here, when all you guys are like, what's Jimmy Butler? Who's that? And I'm like, this guy's a superstar, right? I also told you the reason you get Jimmy Butler is A, he's a superstar, and B, he makes it so that the next superstar is like, okay, I'll come play over there because now you already got one. They never got that next one. They never got the next one. So if you want to sit here and adjudicate how everything happened, it's because it was always an incomplete grade. It was always, there's still one more submission that never happened. Not due to any lack of effort by them. They tried to get Donovan Mitchell. They tried to get Damian Lillard. They tried to get Kevin Durant. But guess what? None of these teams are beholden to helping you. So I hate when Mike was like, these guys can't land anybody. Dog, it's not up to them. It's not like it was a free agent visit and they said, I'm going over here. Okay, that one you can drop the ball.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about acquiring someone, a superstar by a trade, you are dealing with the superstar, you're dealing with the other team, and you're dealing with every other team that's offering things that you may not have.
Totally understood.
Like a zillion draft picks.
Totally understood.
And so Mike, while you're right in saying, hey, this team isn't talented enough, Dan, you are also right in saying, hey, they're trying everything. But when you ask how it happened, it's because this is the NBA. The Lakers were down, and then they got Luka Doncic. And guess what? We think they're going to be great for the next 10 years. The Dallas Mavericks went to the finals, and guess what? They did something dumb, and now it might be a while, right? The Knicks were awful forever. And then, dude, think about how crazy it is. They signed Dallas's backup guard, and that turned into the greatest bet ever. Right, both in how much they put down and how much they received in return.
Another name that could have been invoked around Miami. I think this is just the longest stretch of time. And since they acquired Jimmy Butler, which was majestic, they acquired Jimmy Butler with no room and no real assets, and it was an amazing coup in getting Jimmy Butler. Is ever since that acquisition, the blueprint is always counted on getting someone better than Jimmy.
So Dan, I'll give you a great example. The Golden State Warriors went to the playoffs in 1994 with Chris Webber, who was this incredible talent, number one overall pick. Everyone was like, oh, Chris Webber is going to be dynamic. They go to the playoffs. They give a good run against the Suns. They lose. Chris Webber says, I don't want to be here anymore. Gets traded. And then from 1994 to 2013, they made the playoffs one time. They were a laughingstock. They were awful, right? What happened in that stretch, other than the We Believe Warriors, in 2009, they drafted a guy named Steph Curry. At the same time, the Phoenix Suns, who had been pretty successful by metrics, gone to the conference finals and 50-win seasons and all this stuff, and at that time, I'm working there, And we were a team that had been competing for a championship. And we were ready to trade Amari Stoudemire for Steph Curry. The lowliest of the low had the draft pick. We're where they wanted to be. We're like, I want that guy. And guess what? Don Nelson changed his mind. And in changing his mind, changed the course of history for so many people. The Suns had one more good year and then went into their own long-ass drought.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was Amari for Steph was a thing.
That was the deal all along. It started the February before we even had the draft. It started when Steph Curry was still a junior at Davidson, right? Obviously, Steph Curry gets there, and then boom, a few moments later, we get a dynasty. It happens that quickly, Dan. So to look around and say, well, how are these guys passing us? Well, because they have the talent that's going to take them to the next era of whatever this is. And at the current moment, the Miami Heat don't. But that's how basketball works. Sometimes you got it, sometimes you don't.
So I'm good on the Jimmy Butler situation.
This guy.
Organizationally, I know it was turmoil when Jimmy was with the Heat. How do the Warriors feel about Jimmy being there?
They love him.
Like fan base?
They love him because
Update.
because
Good. Okay.
Jimmy Butler only
Solid.
has one problem
wants
with
to
every
write that down.
organization.
He wants to write it down. He's got
Make a
notes
note.
here.
He's a professional.
Here, wait. Can we just
Ridiculous.
cover? I'd like all his
Warriors
notes here.
still good.
I feel like he's caught up. We can put a bow on the
guy.
segment.
Well, he asked a question.
But
so,
check back
I
when his
think-
contract's expiring.
Yep.
That's it. Yeah.
So that's another good point. Because as a casual basketball fan, there's only a couple moments that I hear about Jimmy Butler. And that is when he's making runs in the playoffs or something crazy
That's it. That's his whole
going
career.
on organizational. And this is like every 3
Nah,
to
you
4
got
to
it, man.
5 years. And so when I hear that Pat Riley feels a certain way about Jimmy Butler and how it ended, it sounds a little crazy to the casual who is like, you took in a pet bobcat and you're now upset that he bit your daughter? That feels weird to me.
To close the loop, whatever happened to the FBI investigation with Terry Rozier? Did that just go away? Like, what happened to that? Because we can still get that in.
They just admitted last night's game into evidence.
I was going to say they.
Greetings to all. Welcome to 2022. Omicron is on the run, and away it went. But oops, there goes gravity, and here comes a new variant. Omaha, Corona, Hut 1, Hut 2. Nothing infects the Super Bowl, and nothing stops football.
Racism, greed, trauma to brain and spine. And yet, I cannot look away. Here Jews are dead. Science has their heads. Oh, is there no escape from here? I need to know. It eats my soul. Nothing stops the NFL. Heaven or hell, I can't tell. It's human cockfighting. CTE prayer circles. They blackballed the blackballer. They tried to end racism by stenciling it in the end zone. Billionaire boys using millionaires as toys. It's all immoral, all unethical. Ooh, the witching hour. Nothing stops the NFL. Heaven or hell, I can't tell. It's Urban and Snyder and Flores and Gruden, but Kyler, but Kelsey, but Cooper, but Canty. It's cheating and tanking and bounties and banking, but parlays, but face paint, but promo, but innings.
Here we go. This one's for all the glory. Give it your best, it's all you got. Don't look back. Oh, it's all part of the story. You talk the talk, now walk the walk. Yeah.
When the game's on the line, will you have the guts to make the call? When it's crunch time, will you make us scream? God bless.
From the back of every bar, on the subway, on the streets or in your car, wherever you have found yourself, scream out your battle cry. I'm all in. I'm all in. Fourth and goal, or pin back at your 30. Time to prove you're a hot shot. Let's attack.
In a few days, we're going to put on for sale and give you all of the information on this Papi challenge. We've got Papi coming out of retirement. We're going to have a few people come out of retirement. Papi's mad because the artists are taking liberties with his body. He says that's
not his?
Well, he says it's not his, but my mother and I say it is his body. But there's no way of knowing who the NFL legend is that he's going to challenge in Domino's April 13th.
It's Hawk.
No, not a
No?
not a Bones player.
Could have told by the
Don't know how to play dominoes.
Not a legend either.
Ooh, that hurts. That hurts.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
I'm a legend
Hold
to a lot
on.
of people, Dan.
Hold the hell on. We're not going to do this. Do you remember that first touchdown pass he caught?
Thank you. Can
Come
we
on
tee
now.
it up? Do we have that on tap? Because clearly, I don't think you realize the pioneer that I am to sub 5'9" football players.
I don't believe. Okay. So are you okay? You're making a qualification that I was not making, because if it's a legend to 5'9" football players, if it's an amusement ride and I have to stand and be this tall to get on the ride, then I will allow the fact that. And I don't mean it as an insult to say. Look, man,
I'm insulted right now.
I'm insulted. Why wouldn't
Offensive.
I be an NFL legend?
Yeah.
I mean, I was 50 under 40 in The Athletic, the famed publication that you guys talked about this Jimmy Butler article in. That sounds like an NFL legend to me.
Dan, Hawk was offensive. You're offensive.
Thank you. I mean, continue, Dan.
By the way, we can't play NFL clips. We can apparently play Along Came Polly, but we can't
No
do some of
sound,
the
though.
NFL.
No sound. Yeah, that was no sound.
Make it right.
Luckily, my highlights don't need sounds.
I don't mean it as an insult to you. You keep taking things that I say here as a diminishment of your skill. To say someone is not a legend is not to insult them.
I would say he's Browns legend status.
I would say you're wrong.
He's a luminary for the Browns, no doubt.
You try to make confirming the legend, and now you're saying
luminary.
Is it?
Luminary? Luminary's good.
That dude ain't no legend.
Let me
the
speak
Ethan
on
one.
behalf of Browns fans because
Thank
when
you.
I was one, it honestly says more about the franchise since they came back. But Hawk is a
Nope,
legend.
We don't need to go into that.
Sorry,
all
but-
decade team for the Browns.
Yeah,
Voted
yeah.
on.
He's like
Just saying.
he's better than Devon Bess, and everyone in town loved Devon Bess.
Let me
He's
put
a
it this way.
luminary.
Let me put it this way. If someone asked me, name good Browns players ever. First one is Jim Brown, obviously.
Yeah.
Number two,
this is clearly the standard we should all be
I'm
using.
just saying,
Yeah.
Jim Brown, Myles Garrett,
Antonio.
Joe Thomas,
Joe Thomas.
Kevin.
Hawk, number 4.
Probably.
Mount Rushmore.
Like I feel like I insulted you by invoking Devon Bess.
Yeah, that was
you
good.
were.
You did.
No, you were really good for the Browns.
Thank you.
You were. He is a luminary, and also he stuck around the franchise. He had an opportunity to go to New England, and he's like, "No, I like the bad
on.
shit. I'm going to start a podcast with Joe Thomas because I like the bad shit."
I like
No,
chaos.
No.
I operate great in chaos.
Also, you know what culture starts with, Dan? Since you love that word so much, it starts with someone saying, I'm not going to run when things get hard.
Come on
I'm
now.
staying right here.
That sounds
Him
legendary.
and Joe
to me, Dan.
Thomas. Him and Joe Thomas said, hey, it'd be easy to, go join the Patriots, be bandwagoners, win rings and stuff. No. Be the change you want to see in the world, Dan.
Win rings and stuff. No.
No.
Look, Joe Thomas had the opportunity. You were there, right, when Joe and Peyton wanted him to go over to Denver, and Joe Thomas almost got traded to Denver.
Yes.
You had the opportunity to play with Brady. These are guys that were on a football team that
And
won
I was
one
okay
game in
with
2
that.
seasons.
I was okay with my status as a legendary NFL player, Dan.
You are smarter than what is happening right now.
What are you talking about? I know that.
No, I'm about to explain
always
to you.
smarter than what's happening.
This is what just happened, okay?
All right.
You disagree with me
Okay.
for saying that you're not a legend. You get offended. You
Yes.
turn to Mike, and then what does Mike say? Mike says something that I totally agree with. He's like,
Hawk's
you
a
were
legend.
very good, and you were a luminary. He never said you were a legend. He said you were very good and that you were a luminary, and I would say the same thing, but he's saying it in a different tone, and so you're agreeing with him even though he's saying the same thing I'm saying.
He's trying to shove you under the bus, Mike.
He really is, but he's a classic shit stirrer. In talking it out, I now see the light. You are indeed a legend.
No,
The Devon Bess
There we
thing.
go.
No, he
The Devon
compared you
Bess
to
It
Devon
made me
Bess.
realize, like, wait a second, Devon Bess? No, Huck was way better than Devon Bess.
You know what?
Thank you.
Devon Bess is a luminary.
And you called Devon Bess a legend.
This is still America.
Devon Bess was good, though.
This is
Let me
still
just-
America.
Let me put that out
I
there.
love that Hawaii team. Ryan
Oh,
Grice
my
Mullen.
gosh. Out of the slot, I was like, I used to watch his film like, damn.
They should call you
kid's got
Andrew
it.
Bess.
And
With a
honestly,
T.
the reason why Devon Bess was on my mind is I'm pretty sure Papi's fighting him. Because the teaser that I saw on the placard that went up on the main feed, it looks like your dad is fighting Devon
There
Bess.
is no telling who my father is going up against.
Or Chief Keef.
But we will give.
I'm almost sure that's Ricky Williams.
I love at the bottom it says if the coward accepts. So he hasn't said yes yet.
Not yet.
Yes.
No, we might have to throw Andrew Hawkins in there and just
You should have said that.
claim he's a legend.
You should have said, but Andrew Hawkins is not a coward. I would have been okay with that.
There you go.
It might actually be Devon Bess.
I want to talk to you about some of the football things going on because I was surprised. Perhaps I should not have been. Oh, so Joey Bosa is just going to be released. Okay, that's how we're doing that one. DK Metcalf is just going to ask for a trade. He's going to leave Seattle because his contract is up in a year. Max Crosby is going to stay with the Raiders, going to be paid more than any non-quarterback in the entire league. And Mike Florio is saying that if Sam Darnold signs a 2-year deal in Minnesota, J.J. McCarthy is going to ask for a trade. And your thoughts there, Andrew, on all of those things and NFL free agency or what?
Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun to be able to make moves that matter, that surprise you? I think for so long in the NFL, it was like, you know they're not going to trade this player. You know that this guy is going to have an okay market when he hits free agency. To have like actual sparks, it does feel like the NBA feels around free agency. Like J.J. McCarthy potentially being traded after not taking a snap and being as highly drafted as he is, that's special because it could potentially change the trajectory of another franchise who needs a quarterback but not in position to do so.
Let me talk to you about this Minnesota situation because they got unmasked in the playoffs the way we thought they would get unmasked with Darnold being Darnold.
Yes.
Not totally fair to have a road game after they had that kind of season, and fires made things complicated.
It was in Arizona, their road game.
Yes, like it's
They were playing a team not from Arizona.
and so when I present to you the idea of if the Vikings were to do it what has been the more traditional way before the rookie quarterback, you needed to get value in the first 3 years out of him when they fast forwarded all these curves. Wouldn't the way the NFL would have done this at any time previously in his history is you get Sam Darnold for 2 more years and you allow J.J. McCarthy to work his way into the position over 3 years. Like, that's how we would do it. That's how Aaron Rodgers did it under Brett Favre, right? Not that they're the same person, but
Right.
But once you draft McCarthy, the finances of it are such that you need to play him, correct?
Yeah, I agree with that take. I actually think they should let Sam Darnold walk, which is crazy because he had the season that he had, and you don't typically see a quarterback hit free agency that had that kind of year. But when you look at the Minnesota Vikings, if I am them, I'm looking at Kirk Cousins, and I'm looking at Sam Darnold, and I'm looking at them, Sam Darnold previously, and also Kirk Cousins after he left. And I'm going to say, I think I have the guy in KOC that can get me the max amount of production from J.J. McCarthy under this system like I've done with the other 2 quarterbacks. There's not going to be a plethora of people lining up for Sam Darnold. Like, it's going to be quarterback needy teams, but there's still going to be the, we've seen him in other situations. And the same goes for Kirk Cousins. I think you take advantage of that rookie contract so you can continue to build the roster around him.
I think the Minnesota Vikings are more valuable to a quarterback than Sam Darnold is to a team. Like, the skill people Minnesota has, like, I would think someone like Kirk Cousins would be like, get me back there, please. I don't understand what happened with Kirk Cousins last year, where the GM is like, I didn't know his arm was hurt, and he falls off being able to throw a football 9 games into the season, and we're all like, how is that a noodle arm all of a sudden? I want to be the quarterback in Minnesota. I would think that Minnesota is more attractive to quarterbacks than Sam Darnold is to teams.
I think that's a great assessment. I think with what they have as coaching staff, even organizationally. Shout out to Josh McCown, another Browns and NFL legend. I'm not going to let Dan say anything different. Who's a quarterback coach there in KOC. Kevin O'Connell, who runs the offense. I do think that is a more attractive proposition than Sam Darnold. And that's not a knock on Sam Darnold. It's great for the season that he had, but there's still such a risk associated with it. And it was, magnified on the biggest stage in the biggest game of the magical season.
Well, I mean, this reminds me of Miami Heat circa 10 years ago, where it's like, your thing is we find diamonds in the rough. We the rock that no one wanted. I take a pause. Oh, it's pretty good. So
Caleb Martin, not bad.
Birdman.
The guy I think about is Hassan Whiteside, Deion Waiters, and James Johnson, right? Because
Bumpy
those
too.
guys played well, and then the Heat were like, we have to pay them. I'm like, no. What their going rate is that? Okay, have fun. Congratulations. I hope you have a great career somewhere else and get paid what you need to get paid.
They finally learned that lesson.
They finally learned that lesson. So the Vikings are saying, wait, hold on. We're the ones that make Kirk Cousins look like this. We probably did the same thing with Sam Darnold. If someone wants to pay him that, vaya con Dios.
They got to trust it. They got to trust the organization.
You got to trust that we're the ones, whether it's the receiving core, whether it's the offensive coordinator, whatever it is.
That's it.
We make quarterbacks here. We don't have to pay for quarterbacks unless they are the next coming, which we all agree Sam Darnold is not.
That's business. That is like when you do any business deal, you want to be the piece of the deal that is the value. You're connected to me, and then when you leave me, you won't be as successful. And I got to trust myself in that is the case. That's what the Patriots did for years.
I also am curious because Dan said, you could put me at quarterback. And now I'm
what a visual.
Imagining Dan starting at quarterback for the Vikings.
Man.
Yellow nachos.
I don't think I said you could put me at quarterback.
You did say it like
Omaha
you said
steaks.
The phrase "me at quarterback" came out of your mouth, and me locked eyes.
The thing that we're discussing right now, I can't believe that in 2025 I'm having a conversation about Sam Darnold being worth money at quarterback. They just did it with any quarterback. That's any quarterback. I've seen enough of Sam Darnold over the entirety of my life to know when Sam Darnold is being something that his talent level and when it's being manufactured for him. And there are only 2 teams that I believe could have done that for him, San Francisco and Minnesota. I don't think there's a third.
San Francisco kind of did it for him, too.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with that. I'm going to disagree with that. Not fully. Number one, I don't believe Dan could play quarterback in the NFL. I am 1,000% certain he could not do anything.
I could throw a bubble screen, just a quick bubble screen.
No, it would be pick
That's
six.
a big bubble.
Okay, as an NFL legend, I can promise you, you will not complete a bubble screen. All right? Number 2, what Sam Darnold has, because, I don't want to position him just as a pedestrian. Like, yeah, he's not lived up to the expectation, and that is how you judge players. From where you came in your expectation, how below or above you get to that. Last year was the first glimpse we saw him above, but he has the tangibles. Whenever you're drafted top 10, you have the physical tools to be elite. And that's what he showed, that to your point, when you mix that with great offensive strategy and a coach who understands quarterbacks and how to maximize it, you take advantage of that elite level talent that not every quarterback in the NFL has just because you're there.
Hold on. You're telling me that Dan can't hike and just throw a quick pass out?
No, absolutely
I think
not.
he could do that. Now, he might get killed on that.
Both things will be true. He will be killed, and it won't be
Okay,
completed.
so listen to me.
right,
You're correct, Andrew Hawkins, that Sam Darnold, was he drafted 6th? He's got a skill set that would get you drafted within the top 6 in the
third overall.
Top 5.
All right, 3rd overall. So that skill set is not up for dispute. I'm just saying that there are a lot of quarterbacks that I can grab from any pile of top 3 picks who haven't had success, and I can do with them what Sam Darnold has done, because my analysis is not unlike these announcers who were calling the playoff game and had it all figured out from outside the pocket.
He's holding it too long. Just run. Throw it, man.
Blue cheese! Blue cheese!
Red velvet!
I'm doing a thing, Dan. No one out pizzas are hot!
No one out pizzas the hut is that's damn good.
Look.
That's damn good, Mike.
Did you say look?
Yeah.
We've been talking a lot of great football, and I've actually recused myself from talking because this whole segment, nobody should have been looking. I don't get why Hawk doesn't get it. Hawk doesn't get it. Don't look now, buddy.
Oh, man. Don't look now.
It's time for a new game. Don't look now.
That's it? That's our imaging? It's time for a new game.
Whose voice is that?
Is that Roy?
What happens, like, in a month? Is it still a new game?
It's a new game.
All right. Who's going first? Because we got 2 guys who are blindfolded right now. We got
Who's
Mike.
blindfolded?
We got.
It's clever. Tony has his glasses on top of the blindfold.
Oh, what's this? Oh, that's Mike. Dan, don't look now. But did you know that quietly? Oh, somebody's cord there. Where's my mic? There it is. Dan, did you know quietly the Kansas City Chiefs traded all-pro guard Joe Thuney to the Bears? Just quiet under the rug. Hey,
It wasn't that quiet.
don't look now.
Close
Don't
your
look
eyes.
now. Do not look now.
So I'm
But
talking about our first take.
oh god, don't look now. But the Cowboys also restructured Dak's contract, who obviously we know just made $240 million last year. They're restructuring to add $36 million worth of cap to their budget. Thank you.
I like this game.
How long is that cord?
I don't know. It's wrapped around me like 6 times.
What else do you have, Tony? Because as an audio bit, this doesn't really work.
Well, no, here's the thing.
problem.
Usually somebody else gives a take. They're looking, and then I tell them don't look.
Because he can't look. That's
right,
a
because
problem.
I don't know who's going to talk, Dan. That's the thing.
What was great is he did actually try to look around the room for eye contact with either me or Chris to speak, but
Right.
you can't see.
Well, so here's the thing, though. This
Mike just tripped over a couch?
This show requires chemistry, and it's supposed to be an audio show first, not a video show. Mike has hurt himself. Frankie is helping him.
This is high comedy,
That's
though.
a liability. That's
He
a
might
that's
have
a
really hurt himself.
That's a corporate liability. Tony, just give us all your football, and just assume when you stop talking, Hawkins will have some great expertise.
Okay, excellent.
I'm trying to get the bit first.
Well, the bit. Are you looking?
It's
I don't
fine.
know.
He's trying to look.
He's
These are
wearing
prescription
a
glasses?
monocle of some sort, so he's definitely looking. He's looking not. He's
I
not.
might be
only-
looking too much.
He's not. Well, you are looking too much.
Oh,
You're-
he's
you're-
using Skipper's glasses. Those are the ones that Skipper uses?
I do believe you can use those.
Yeah, they're prescription, so I can't see.
You
out
can't.
of
It's
them.
don't look now.
Don't look
Don't
now.
He's
look
not
now.
because he just told you the prescription. You can't see through
I can't
him,
see
so
anything.
Technically, he's not looking.
Yeah.
Excellent. And by the way, Dan, I'm obviously listening through auditory mediums because I can't see. The show's working perfectly, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just letting you know that because
Okay,
you're
but-
watching.
well,
I'm not
but-
watching. I'm
but
listening.
But
He's got you there.
I don't like excluding the audio audience with video.
I'm with
bits.
them. I'm with them right now, listening. So here's the thing: we have a lot of free agents, a lot of big names moving around. Could we see in the conversation that you were having about JJ McCarthy, about Sam Darnold? Should they sit McCarthy? Should they pay Sam Darnold? What if?
Don't look.
Don't look though. What if a team signs? I know this is gonna be crazy. What if a team in the top 3 signs Aaron Rodgers? Maybe the Giants sign Aaron Rodgers. You draft Cam Ward. You allow him to sit a couple of years, try to pick Aaron Rodgers, the good football part of Aaron Rodgers' brain.
Man.
You let him kind of coagulate and mingle with him and figure out, okay, this is how I can be a great NFL quarterback. And then you got your guy in a couple of years. What do you
Tony,
think? Are we looking?
Not
or?
to cut you off, but don't look now. But Mike found his way to the control room, and I'm really worried that he's going to short out the circuits,
That's bad.
and we're going to get a power outage like
Yeah,
we
that's
did.
not good.
Oh,
yeah,
damn
this
it,
is
Mike.
not good. This is.
Well, I hate that take, Tony. So you can look at that, please.
Mike, stop. Mike,
Oh my
Mike,
God.
stop hitting
You
stuff,
hate that
please.
tape.
Please.
The cameras are out, so
Cameras
now
out.
it really is an audio medium only.
Okay,
'Cause
stop.
Mike
Mike.
was in there.
All right, let's finish up. Let's finish it up. Don't look now, but
Is that
That's
to
you,
me?
Tony.
yes,
Yeah,
Tony.
Tony.
That's to
can't-
you.
I mean, I'm not looking, Dan.
Yes,
That
I
was
know.
That was an audio toss.
Yes,
it wasn't
I
audio toss.
Couldn't
but
have
Hawk-
made it a lot easier than
But
that.
here's
It's
the
your
thing.
segment, Tony.
Yeah, well, it's everybody's segment, Dan, by the way. But Hawk said he hated that take, so I was allowing
Yeah,
Hawk to
I
not look and
appreciate
give
that.
me the take rebuttal.
I do not want Aaron Rodgers ruining my rookie quarterback. He is not at the I'm going to mentor you and make you better stage of his life.
Let me make this make sense for Hawk.
Please.
This segment is presented by Smirnoff. It's the world's #1 vodka. Please drink
There it
responsibly.
is. So now the glasses really make sense.
Don't look now. What are your thoughts on the Giants being that? I want to go through a bunch of football stuff with you. Aaron Rodgers to
While
the
looking
Giants.
or not looking?
I want to be
We
done
can
with.
look now.
Don't look. Don't look now.
Do you want my answer, Dan, or?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
I want Andrew Hawkins. I need Mike back in here. I need him to stop wandering around the studio knocking over sounds. And I need Andrew Hawkins. This is professional football expertise.
Yes, legend.
Not legend,
Come
but
on.
top of the media game.
All right.
DK Metcalf requesting a trade. Your thoughts are what there?
If I'm the Seahawks, I entertain it. I don't think they're incredibly close to a championship because of their quarterback situation. Not that it's bad. I like Geno. But if I'm them, I'm collecting assets to make a rebuild to actually put you in position in a conference that has the Rams or the division with the Rams and obviously the 49ers. Now, if I'm DK, he said he wants to go to a contender. There are very few that actually have a chance. So I'm curious of which offense he could actually fit in his style. I don't think it's the Ravens. Bills, that doesn't feel like a fit to me. And really, it's Patrick Mahomes. When I'm talking about like who has the best chance of making a run at this, to me, it's those three teams, unless the Philadelphia Eagles are saying A.J. Brown could want to go somewhere else, and that's their solution to replace him.
Houston?
I mean, I think that Nico Collins, to me,
He's your alpha one already.
Nico Collins is not a big drop-off from DK, if a drop-off at all.
No, he's not a drop-off at all. But I don't – if you're just going to a contender, does it assume that DK has to go as a number one to a contender? Like that?
Yes.
Because it does assume that because Philadelphia just won with 2 number ones, and when he's asking to be a number one and I see Cincinnati's franchising T. Higgins – and I'm watching, are we going to do this the Saquon Barkley running game way, or are we going to actually try and do something where the secret is that we're going to have 2 number one wide receivers? Because I don't – the Seahawks were mad, evidently, that on the day Lockett's retiring after 10 years, regional legend.
Yeah, he's an NFL legend. I'm not going to let you disrespect.
Lockett is not an NFL legend. He's
I
a
get it.
regional legend.
There's a height requirement for you to consider somebody a legend. Is that what it is?
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is there a height requirement before you're willing to make someone a legend at Le Batard Show?
Name me some more consistent wide receivers over the last decade than Tyler Lockett. Ridiculous.
I love Tyler Lockett. I'm not saying he's
No,
very,
you don't. You
very
do not
good.
love
No,
Tyler
listen
Lockett.
to me.
Yeah, put it on
You
the
do
poll.
not
Does
love
Dan
Tyler
love
Lockett.
Tyler Lockett?
You
He
don't.
does not.
You
Very
don't.
good. Luminary and the number 2 receiver on his own team.
No, he's a Seahawks legend.
Again, regional legend. I said that.
Regional
Well,
legend.
it feels like you're cutting them a little bit.
It is because the Seahawks are still in the
Tyler
NFL.
entire
Lockett,
PNW?
Tyler Lockett was never their number one receiver.
So what is it? You only think Hall of Famers are legends? Is that what the
I mean,
criteria is?
generally, that's where.
The
I mean,
definition, no.
All right, so then
Generally,
change it to
that's
Hall
not-
of Famer, Dan.
What's the definition? Like if he led the team in receiving yards, that makes him the number one receiver, doesn't it?
Okay. How many times did he lead the team
tell
in
you right now.
receiving yards?
But
'Cause-
while we're at it,
That's
if you're saying
such
Hall
a
of-
no big deal. Just how many
no,
times
but
did he do it?
how many 1,000-yard seasons does Tyler Lockett? I'll stand
A
down.
lot.
He's got 4.
4.
That's good.
It's 4 more than you have, Dan Le Batard.
A Lockett.
Yeah, that
He's
is
a-
true.
He's a third round pick.
This is not a diminishment of Tyler Lockett to say he's not a Hall of Fame legend.
No,
Nobody
it wasn't
said
a Hall of Fame.
He might be a Seahawks Hall of Famer.
There's already a descriptor for Hall of Famer, and it's called Hall of Famer. Legend and Hall of Famer are
But
not
he'd
synonymous.
be a Seahawks Hall of Famer. He's not an NFL Hall of Famer. Those
He's
are two
still
different
an
Hall of
NFL
Famers.
legend.
And
though.
four separate seasons, he's led them in receiving yards.
Calling him a regional legend is really undercutting. Like, I've won 2 regional Emmys.
Tim Ruddy.
Are we really? We're putting Tyler Lockett
The
on
Dolphins
the
celebrate
Jeremy Tashea?
former center Tim Ruddy. He's not a legend.
I gotta
He's a
say,
former center.
There you go.
you're saying
Center and
DK
team
Metcalf is their number one receiver. Like DK barely edged him in 2022 and 2023.
Okay, so
Barely edging.
put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is Tyler Lockett
Definition of edging.
a legend? Just
Yes.
question mark. I want to ask you the question I was asking you before.
Okay.
The Seahawks were mad that Adam Schefter broke the news of Metcalf's trade request on what was supposed to be the celebration of a decade-long career that, whether I diminish it or not as legendary, regionally had an emotional tie and connection to the community. Do they have any right to be angry about that? The news breaks when the news breaks. Why? I get why they'd be upset by that. It does take the shine off of Lockett's punctuation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to be in favor of diminishing the star of a legend on a day that's supposed to celebrate him, and he is a legend, not regionally, nationally, but also alongside of that, it is relevant to that conversation that you're getting rid of a staple on your team who has been the source of production at the receiver position for a decade, and the other one wants to leave. That's newsworthy and, again, connected to the fact that you're releasing Tyler Lockett.
And probably re-sign and building around Geno Smith. Like, they've committed to Geno Smith there.
Tyler is the second most prolific receiver in franchise history. He's second to Steve Largent in receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. That's the only person he's behind.
If
So
you're a
Joey
Se-
Galloway.
If
Yeah,
you're a
he's better.
Seahawks legend, that doesn't make you a legend of the game.
Compiler.
Like, there's difference here. Jeff Conine is a Marlins legend. He's not a legend when it comes to baseball.
You guys are doing this
baseball
wrong, though.
legend.
You guys are
he's
assuming.
Dwayne Wade.
So let me, because you guys are taking insults somehow from regional legend, okay?
That sounds insulting to
but that's
someone
the
who's
truth.
gone
You're
beyond the region.
You're calling Hawk and Tyler Lockett the Jeremy Tashais of football.
I mean, that's such an insult.
Actually,
not an
no.
insult.
Wait a minute. I'm not saying the
To
Jeremy
them.
Taché. I'm saying the media South Florida Dan Le Batard of this region. I
Wow.
Oh, see, wait, hold on. Now
okay.
let me break this down to everybody. What Dan is trying to do is diffuse by doing the shucks, I'm just a regional. Dan, we all know you are a national legend.
incorrect.
Guys,
International Dan.
Everyone, come on. Dan is.
I
is
actually agree
fishing.
with Dan on this.
He's
Dan
fishing-
is he's
Dan's
a
not-
national nationally he's just a guy. Down here,
What are you
he's
talking
a
about?
Not I'm just saying a guy, but like he's one of the main guys, but nationally he's just thought of as there's a bunch of guys around that do national stuff.
His
Hush-
reputation is greater than Tyler
Hush your
Lockett's.
mouth. Let's all right. You
Cuban
hush your
born.
mouth. Guys in the back, let's all give Dan the constructive kind of like lift up that he's been looking for. He wants a compliment. He was fishing for it. Guess what? He caught himself a big mackerel. Dan, you are absolutely
best,
a
Dan.
media
Yeah,
legend.
You're the
a
best,
media
Dan.
Hall
Yep.
of Famer, in fact.
Yep.
You
Down
and
here.
who else? No, not
Legend
down
doesn't
here.
Don't
even
do that.
say
Don't do
it.
that.
Nationally
don't do
and
the regional.
internationally.
Dan might be Tyler Lockett.
No, he's a national guy. He's a national guy.
Right,
Dan Le
known
Batard is highly
nationally.
Hush your
questionable.
mouth. You
known
hush your mouth.
nationally. Everyone, we all know Tyler Lockett.
You disrespectful.
He was H3
son.
on
No
PTI.
Tyler Lockett?
He was H3 on PTI.
I mean, how much higher does it get?
H1 and 2.
Okay.
I'm with Chris Cody on this. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, Chris, you and I got this on lock.
Stop. You hosted a cable television program, a daily cable television
They
program.
didn't give one to Tim Cowlishaw.
Tyler Lockett was second in receiving yards for the Seahawks.
But there's clearly a place where Dan is celebrated the most.
I'm telling you, regional people went on around the horn. They represented regions. Bill Plaschke represented California and L.A. specifically. Cowlishaw, Texas, right? Kevin Blackens.
We got it. You know host.
Yeah,
you know
Chicago.
panelists. We got you.
Yeah.
the show's dead now.
Right,
We don't
and
talk about it
exactly.
anymore.
Guess what
2 more
show's
months.
still going on? The one with the legend.
Yes.
The national legend.
The regional
The
legend.
no, not regional.
Interregional.
Not interregional either.
Speaking of interregionals, I want you guys to explain to me, Mike Ryan, you as a defender of the University of Miami, because when I think of regionals and playoffs, I think of University of Miami baseball. And yesterday, they had a steak sandwich milkshake at that. The milkshake is famous.
Go on.
At what used to be Mark Light Stadium at A-Rod Field, that is now whatever it is presently called.
I think it's that.
It's still that.
Yeah.
Pitbull Field, I thought.
that
that's
milk-
by you.
Don't you dare.
That milkshake is one of the famous items anywhere in college sports. But I mean, when I saw a Philadelphia cheesesteak in an ice cream milkshake, I thought that was a joke.
In the
Yeah, they did that. This was an
It's just
unreal
a little
heat
one,
check.
by the way. Just a little one.
Unreal
on top.
heat check from Mark Light Shake. I can't defend this kind of behavior.
I can't.
won't. I
I
refuse
can't.
to.
I
There's
can defend
cheese whiz, slices of steak, bread in it. They just smashed a cheesesteak into a vanilla ice cream shake. And as someone that had the chicken wing shake, that wasn't bad. It had a piece of chicken. It had buffalo sauce in it and celery. Like, that actually worked. There's no way this works.
Did you try it?
Any truth to the rumor that Pat Riley had the nutritionist pull it from being sold at the games?
look,
Yo, I'm in on this.
I'm asking.
This looks
is-
great.
look at this video.
They're just making a Philly cheese. Oh, now they're putting it in the ice cream.
Guys,
I'm in
okay.
on this.
Dan, hold on a second.
Don't
Have you
knock
ever
it till you
put-
tried it.
Dan, have you ever put a fry in a Frosty?
Of course.
Have you ever put a chicken nugget in a Frosty?
Of course.
Have you ever put a burger in a Frosty?
No.
And tried to see what it tastes like?
Just never cheese whiz.
There it
First
is.
of all, I just want to point out that Tapper, you're using your bare hands. What are you doing? You're cross-contaminating anyway, you sick son of a bitch. You gotta kill somebody.
Is anybody clocking how Dan is looking at me right now for asking the Pat Riley question?
Anyone clocking how I'm looking at this milkshake?
Yeah, I am.
This is, and of course Darren Ravel was there on the scene, on the beat.
There can't be multiple people eating that. There cannot be more than one person
There's
eating
one in
that.
here right now.
Definitely.
I bet 50 people did it.
There are loyalists that will try every specialty shake.
Ethan, go get me one of those.
If I was there, I'd try it to
LeBron.
say that I survived the Villanova specialty shake. But this one, like
when the whiz meets the ice cream, oh boys.
Salty sweet. It's a good combo.
I will say
so
the cannoli one that they had was the best specialty shake I think they've ever had.
It's not only vanilla ice cream and vanilla syrup that's topped with a mini cheesesteak sandwich.
Amina's disgusted. Like, that's disgusting.
It is disgusting. It is.
It's a
vanilla
cheese whiz.
syrup.
I think it's a cheese whiz for me.
You can't mix those
Not even the
things.
protein.
It's the cheese whiz. I'm cool with the
I mean,
steak.
they're both dairy.
Put the bread in there. Who cares?
I'm
The
not
cheese whiz.
even sure you can
me
eat
all of
those. Like, I'm not even sure
Want one.
it's not unpleasant to eat cheesesteak over here and then bite of ice cream and go back to cheesesteak.
No, that's
No, that's pretty much like
Totally fine.
Shake
No,
Shack's
I-
entire
That's
business
my
model.
Saturday night.
Yeah, that's fine.
Never.
Steak and Shake's business model.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of people that like the salty with the sweet.
That's
But when you put it
disgusting.
together, like, just imagine what the end of that milkshake may
You
taste
guys
like
have been
when everything settles.
You guys have been at a diner with like a burger and a milkshake. You take a bite of the burger, and as you're
what is it?
chewing,
Yeah, you know what,
and
guys?
as you're chewing,
take a sip.
What
is
you,
that,
you, you
1956?
wash it down. You wash it down with a little milkshake.
You're a small town
Shake.
guy, Hawk.
You're
You
right.
know that. Come on.
I am, but this is not 1948. Why are we ordering
I love the
steaks
diner.
and shakes?
I'm gonna tell you right now. Anytime I've had a steak and a shake, I always have a glass of water because while I'm eating the food, the water is the beverage,
and then your milkshake gets all melted.
It does. Well, first of all, when they give me the milkshake, it's a block of ice cream. I can't
As
even.
it should be.
I can't even get it through the straw without making a scene. Basically, stop looking at me like that. And so I need it to melt a little bit. So it can. The whole purpose of a shake is it's somewhat solid and somewhat liquid. Not
Imagine
not
this one.
The
block.
whole porpoise.
You guys all know. You all know
That's
the
when
milk.
we play Jacksonville.
Everyone knows the time when you're drinking a milkshake and it gets a little blocked up, and you're like, "Oh, there's a block there." You lift the straw up, and there's a piece of steak blocking the straw. Oh, that's beautiful.
That is the most disgusting
so
thing
foul.
I've ever heard in
So
my life.
foul. It's so unpleasant.
You do it when it's this temperature. When I had the chicken wing shake, it was 110 degrees out.
Oh my God!
You get that Frank's Red Hot coming out of your pores.
The Andrew Hawkins just created the visual of someone on roller skates coming out to your car passenger side at the diner and putting some food on a tray that you're eating in the front seat of your car.
Like pre-McDonald's revolutionizing the the process for fast food.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, you pull up, I'll take a burger and a shake.
Well, to be
well,
clear-
this nice little car you got here, darling. And they go back and they roller skate and come back with the little cone.
And what, you don't like that?
To be clear,
No.
To be clear, Hawk, they would be doing that. Not for you and I, though.
No.
We have to be
correct.
around back by
That's
the
right.
dumpster.
You're
Booze
longing,
in the back.
You're longing
You
for
can
a
go
time
get some
when
slops out the kitchen.
Exactly.
Tony's longing for a romantic time when Andrew Hawkins wasn't allowed to eat any of
Exactly.
that food with the white people.
Listen,
I'm talking about 2025. They got retro joints.
no, we don't want retro joints. We don't want those. Let's not retro that. All right, let's keep
No,
it.
no, I'm talking about.
Let's keep it to Jordans.
I'm talking about roller.
Let's not, let's not retro segregation, Tony.
I'm talking about roller skates, hamburgers, and pizza.
It's
Tony's
kinda,
scared.
It's
No,
a,
no, I'm not.
No, but hold on. It is
America's back.
a dumbass like business model, right?
It's
like,
terrible.
How can we get the food to them faster? I got it. We'll make them wear roller skates. Come on, man. Wait, first of all, were they getting paid more than they would at regular restaurants? Because I would absolutely demand more money. You need a skill set beyond being able to take an order.
And the risk of injury?
Oh, absolutely. What are the liabilities there? And the insurance? Through the roof. Who
It was a
doing
simpler time.
It was a simpler time, Dan.
This? You
You're
didn't have
right.
insurance back then.
Tony just longing for the good old days.
I'm just
isn't
saying
he?
it was a simpler time.
Dan, you're damn right. It was a simpler time.
They still do it at Johnny Rockets. If you go to Johnny Rockets, they're still roller skating
I
around.
have never seen a Johnny Rockets that wasn't in a mall.
No.
That's also true.
You
They're
say-
all in Orlando.
Wait a minute. You say they're still using roller skates at Johnny Rockets? They're still doing that curbside? Look, you guys like to make fun of me about an assortment of things, but just last week I was telling you Hooters can't be doing well, and then they go bankrupt 2 days later while you guys were
That was
arguing.
inside info.
How-
I think you had a tip.
Hey, you had inside info.
He had a
Hot
tip.
tip.
What is happening
He
with,
went there.
with Johnny Rockets? Is Jeremy making that up? No one's still doing the rollerblades, are they?
Rollerblades.
When I was in
They're
college,
full.
at the
Buck
very
Rogers
least,
over
my
there.
my then girlfriend, now wife, had a roommate who worked at Johnny Rockets, and she had to work every single day on roller skates. So I can try to confirm through her.
Did you do the smiley face
Haven't talked
catch-up?
to her in about 10 years. So we'll
Smiley
figure it
face
out.
catch up?
Yeah, of
That's
course.
always a winner.
The only time I've actually eaten at a Johnny Rockets, I take that back, Jeremy. There was one. I was scouting. I think I went to a Villanova game or a Temple game in Philadelphia, and I had to go eat. So I went down to wherever Philadelphia fooderies are. And back then, it was like cash only at all the cheesesteak places. I'm like, all I got is my corporate card, man. I need to charge this. I'm not paying for this out of pocket. So I ended up going to a Johnny Rockets. And let me just say, one of the worst meals I've ever had.
That's not true.
They
Taking
burnt
out
the
Johnny
shit
Rockets.
out of that burger, man.
No, man.
It was
Johnny
dry-
Rockets is solid.
It was dry as hell.
He's
man.
back.
Every man.
Come
back.
on,
Hold
man.
on a second.
I'm a burger connoisseur. Please make no
I
mistake.
love burgers.
I
Oh,
would
you know
never put
burgers
them
better
in a
than I
shake.
do.
Yeah, I will crush you and burger them. Okay, Johnny Rockets though.
You don't know my burger.
is a fine food establishment, and actually in Cincinnati, you could
the
get
only
the
fine.
naked wings at Johnny Rockets, and you know what it was called? The Pac-Man Jones Special. Because Pac-Man Jones would go there and say, "I don't want any sauces," and I'm sure he said it aggressively.
Oh.
That's my guy. He don't do.
I
He only
thought-
does aggressive.
I thought it was because of the strip club in Vegas.
No. So he
Close.
got the naked wings, and I would go get the Pac-Man wings when I was at Johnny Rockets,
Who-
and they tasted amazing.
By the way, every time we do anything, sorry, Dan, anytime we do anything as a show, or we're going to McGillicuddy's or whatever, right? And it was like, what do we got? We got mozzarella sticks and we got we got wings. The wings are always bland, flavorless, seasonless, sauceless. Whose fault is that?
Dan's. He can only have
Yeah.
the wing itself.
He
He
can
can't
only
really
have the wing.
sauce.
Then can we get Dan's separate wings and then the rest of us get something like some lemon pepper,
King
some
eats
hot
first,
sauce?
pal.
Maybe they should name him.
That's a legend.
No,
They should name him
you know
after
what?
Dan,
Reach
like
a legend.
like a
How
local
about you
local
host
legend.
Amin Al-Hassan is highly questionable, and then you can have the wings how you want it.
Stan corrected. You know what? He's absolutely right. You know what? I should be purged, Dan. I should be punished. I should be flogged because I disrespected a national and international legend. not a regional one, Christopher, a national, international legend. The wings should be any way you want, Dan, just like this show. By the way, back to you.
Andrew Hawkins, why is Joey Bosa being released?
Because we all get old, man. It just comes along with the territory. At some point, every local joker, as you like to describe NFL football players, every local joker will eventually get released. And that's essentially what it is. The money, you try to get out before you're overpaying for an aging product. And that's the situation with Joey Bosa.
The Chargers defense was very good last year. Khalil Mack has been very good there. Their pass rush is something that I fear, and Jim Harbaugh isn't going to be able to recreate defense like that. They had a legitimate pass rush at a time that we're valuing it so much that the Raiders, who are not in any way close, the Raiders have not made a playoff game or have not won a playoff game in 24 years, longer than anybody, just gave Max Crosby, who's undisputably great and the closest thing to Sons of Anarchy that there's been in the NFL at the moment, like just feels like Sons of Anarchy, all of it. They just gave him more guaranteed money than any non-quarterback. That doesn't seem like a good way to spend your money if you're not close, but the price on disrupting the quarterbacks is
premium.
so high right now that whether you're Myles Garrett or Max Crosby or Joey Bosa, I would think that Joey Bosa still has a good deal of value. When you say getting old, is he 29? How old is Bosa? Do I have this totally wrong?
29,
Yeah, he's been in the league for a while.
That's not young. That's not young in football years, especially on the defensive line where you're taking, wear and tear. And they've gone through this a couple of times with Joey Bosa. He's had injury issues a bunch over the years, and they've always kind of figured out because his cap hits would hit so hard or he would have missed a season or half a year or be in and out and peppered. And they've typically figured it out because he is in such good standing with the organization. In my opinion, this likely came to a point where they're like, hey, we just got to, he understood, they understood, and he's on the market. He'll be and for talking in receiver terms, he'll be a number 2 pass rusher somewhere and make somebody really good, but he's not a guy that can man the ship anymore.
There is a lot of money to be made in Jadeveon Clowney just sitting out training camp and saying, I'll give you 17 Sundays, and I'm going to go as hard as I can, and I'm just going to be a mercenary. Joey Bosa could do that for years, could he not? Like, 29 is not old. It's not young for a pass rusher, but it ain't old.
I think my surprise there is Mac, if they're looking at their pass rushers and they're looking at aging, diminishing products, I know Mac had a good year last year. It was a good bounce back year for Khalil Mack, but he's older.
5 years older.
That's what I'm saying. When I saw that with Joey Bosa, I'm like, okay, he's expensive, but that still has value. Joey Bosa on that side of 30, I don't associate. Now, I don't think because Bosa had this toe thing. Here's what, like his numbers are going to be down because I don't know how messed up it is to try and play for several games, shooting up your foot.
It was a huge injury for a pass rusher.
Joey Bosa.
Huge.
Isn't Khalil Mack a free agent?
Yeah, he's also a free agent.
Yeah.
Wow, so they don't have
Cleaning house.
This is what rebuilds look like. Hey, and also I have a really great Khalil Mack.
They made the playoffs.
I have a good Khalil Mack story. I'll be really fast. So I went to the University of Toledo, right? The God's favorite university. Toledo. And I came in with a rookie running back named Jalen Parmalee. He's from Midland, Michigan.
Is he related to
Bernie Parmalee?
Not related to Bernie Parmalee.
But I believe they were both Dolphins.
But he was drafted by the Miami Dolphins after our senior year. This guy was a freak specimen. I'm talking about 6'1", 230 pounds. He ran a 4.3. He vertical jumped 43 inches. He did not have an ounce of fat on him. Like when we would be in the light, it was like, yo, that dude looks different than the rest of us, okay? He comes into his own. He has a really good junior and senior year, and he becomes a 6th-round pick. Well, he had these tattoos on his arm that said, Florida-born, Michigan-raised. He was adopted. And we would always joke with him like, Jalen, you were in Florida for 2 days. Like you're not really from there. You're from Michigan. But he didn't know his birth family. All right.
Wait a second.
Fast forward.
He didn't know his birth family.
He didn't know.
Maybe it is Bernie Parmalee.
He didn't know his birth family. Okay. Fast forward. Okay. So a couple years ago, he calls me and he's like, "Hawk, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good." We actually played together in Cleveland, which was really cool. Me, him, and John Greco, who were freshmen together. We all played for Cleveland in the year we went 1-15. Nice. There's a whole other conversation there. We won't get into it. Legends. So then he calls me a couple years ago and he's like, "Yo, Hawk, how you doing?" I'm like, "I'm good, man. Haven't heard from you. How you been?" "I'm good. I found my birth family." I'm like, "Dude, congratulations, man. That's awesome." I believe his adopted family, they were sick. Something happened where he wanted to get information about his medical history. And so I think maybe on Ancestry.com. Anyway, he found an uncle, found his birth family. He's like, "Yeah, I met them. I'm going to meet them for the first time next week." I'm like, "That's awesome, bro. Like, what is it? What are they like?" He's like, "I look just like my dad. and two of my brothers, he has three brothers, two of them are in the NFL. And I'm like, what? That's crazy. He said, yeah, Khalil Mack is my brother.
That's better than being related to Bernie Parmalee.
Same mom, same dad. And Khalil Mack was his brother. You talk about crazy NFL stories.
I mean, Tom Brady's bed's still warm. Tom Brady just left.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He's beautiful in every way. It's out of control.
He throws the ball most accurately and won 7 rings.
So good at backing. He's meant to outdeck teams.
A 6th-round draft pick with a chip on his shoulder and a dimple on his chin.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. He broke so many records and reached unattainable goals.
I said he was done 10 years ago when he shoved it down my throat. He played the Jets twice a year and always ripped out their souls. And just like that, he left us all wanting more. He's a certified gold.
You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest of all.
The greatest of all time.
You're the greatest
The greatest of all time.
Huzzah! After an incredible season, the big game is finally here.
Ugh, have fun. I don't even care who's in the big game, unless it's my Steelers.
Come on, Jess. A game they call Super and a town they call Tinsel await. Which oversized behemoths will control the trenches? Which variety of barley wheat lager will woo the consumer? Which 90s rapper will solicit the most yearning nostalgia? There's oh so much to decide.
A game so big, one can only dream of the brightest light shining on your team. But if my team's not there, why even go? With no one to cheer on, I don't get the show. Oh, tell me, you got the reasons. You got the reasons. Take me there. Take me there. Just take me there.
The Super Bowl, 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 the Super
see the light. Regardless of who's in it, it's a spectacle.
I think I'm starting to come around. Like, for instance, everybody wagering on a team. Chris Collinsworth sliding into your screen. I was too caught up in being a fan instead of just shotgunning beers and betting the Rams. Oh, tell me, you got more reasons. You got more reasons.
Anything you want, everything you need, you can get it all. Pat McAfee, writings on the wall. What's it gonna be? You'll see Marshall Falk and Mariucci. Anything you want, everything you need, you can get it all from Dominique. Writings on the wall. What's it gonna be? You can get it all. Kyle Brandt's Hemmings.
Going out west for the Super Bowl.
Going out west for the Super Bowl.
My team's not there, but I'm gonna show.
My team's also not there, but I'm gonna show.
Everybody knows it's bound to be.
Everybody knows it's bound to be
The greatest night for you and me. Come on now.
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Video, please put in the corner just that montage of Terry Rozier playing basketball very poorly. There are a number of mistakes being made here that are unusual for an NBA player. What, you feel bad for me doing that?
I mean, we can't have bad games. You don't have bad days, Dan?
Oh, but this is the worst player in the league empirically.
He just
right
passed
now.
it to no one.
Yes, he's doing things that are just super confusing out there.
Guys,
metaphorically, have you not just passed it to no one?
The audience, listening audience, I'm sorry, they're doing it again. It's Philip Seymour Hoffman now in a different scene with a lot more people, a lot more black people. Oh, that's weird. Philip Seymour Hoffman seems to be black himself. And
speaking of the movies, Sean Baker, the director of Honora, I've been reading about him recently, and there are a couple of great stories that he was telling. One of them was on the making of RoboCop, which when he got the script, he threw it in the garbage can immediately, and his wife fished it out of the garbage can, and she's like, this is a lot smarter than you think it is, and now he thinks it's a masterpiece. He thinks it's, a tale about American corporate greed and the sensationalism of the American media. But Honora wins Best Picture, and this director is now going to get whatever opportunity he wants here because everyone fell in love with the story of, is it a Russian oligarch's kid is basically falling in love and giving over his fortune to a lady of the night?
Well, falling in love, marrying a sex worker, and she's always very quick to correct people, and whether she's right or wrong in that regard is a running joke throughout it. Sean Baker won 4 different Academy Awards.
First time ever.
It was incredible. I also read that Honora's budget was $6 million. They spent $18 million campaigning to win this award by sending Academy members gifts, goodies, all sorts of stuff.
Physical DVD screeners. At this day and age, everyone gets like a digital screener, which is basically, here's the link, and it'll be around for 48 hours, watch the movie, et cetera, et cetera. They sent physical DVDs because they thought that having the artwork and having something you can hold in your hand would be more impactful on the voters. And as Mike said, $6 million budget, $18 million spent on the marketing towards this campaign. Specifically, not the marketing for the movie, the marketing for the Oscar.
Yeah, the FYC, for-year consideration.
For-year consideration. This is for a movie that made $41 million, Dan. Now, that's not the most amazing part. The most amazing part is the label, basically, that put this out, Neon Films. This is their second Oscar win in 5 years. Netflix hasn't done that. Disney hasn't done that. They also made Parasite. Parasite was an $11 million budget. They spent $20 million on that. Also, last year, Anatomy of a Fall was theirs as well. It was nominated, did not win, but it did win Best Original Screenplay. This guy, Tom Quinn, over at Neon, he might be. You want to talk about poaching somebody? Like if I'm a big
I was going to say, what is the take here? Do we feel bad about?
It sounds like you guys are saying that they're buying the award through their marketing.
With I actually kind of was wise to this after we made the musical, and I was like, this is pretty good for what it is. Like you have TikTok musicals being talked about as Grammy nominated. So I'm like, how's the process? How do we get people to formally consider this? It was a commercial success. It was #1 on iTunes. It's pretty good. We feel strongly about it. And then my eyes were open to just the seedy underworld of how much money people spend to become Academy Award winners or Grammy winners.
The idea here, Dan, is to me, it's a triumph because Neon is not Netflix. It's not Apple. It's not Disney.
It's not even A24.
Right. It's not even A24. It started in 2017. They're not even 10 years old. They figured out the formula. Step 1, the formula, you got to make good movies. Good, compelling movies with good stories.
But spend 3 times the budget on marketing than you do on the art?
Hold on. Step 2 is to be able to do these fiscally responsibly, right? Because by doing it low budget, you allow for the other money to come in and do so. They've also got a couple other horror movies that did really well in the box office.
No doubt.
$100 million. Long Legs, I think, is one of them.
No doubt.
Right? But the idea here, Dan, is this is something that big Hollywood, is going away from. They're like, hey, you need a big budget. You got to spend $200 million. Hey, it's got to have all types of CGI. And, oh, by the way, it has to be based on some existing IP somewhere else. And here is a small indie house that says, we're not going to spend a lot to make our movies. We're going to make good movies, original stories, and then the money that we do spend is going to be to get the things that are going to give us the accolades.
Even that is underselling it. Because this is how every industry works. Like, you could be really good in any industry, and if you don't spend the money to show the entire world outside of you being in a forest and a tree falling and no one's there to see it, nobody will know. And so in movies and entertainment in general, there's 2 rules of thumb. You can either go really big name. You can put The Rock on your movie. You could put Tom Cruise, and everybody will naturally go and see it. And, you put the marketing budget behind it as well. But even those movies are not just really good movies. They're incredible movies, right? And so they're like, hey, we can make this incredible movie, this incredible script with the perfect actors to bring it to life. And then you're picking exactly like, this is an incredible story. I know if anybody sees it, it will shoot to the top, like Parasite, like this film as
It's
well.
more meta than just trying to get Parasite or Anora to win Best Picture. It's an investment on trying to become what Miramax was, what A24 is certainly more than Neon is right now, a taste-making studio. If I see A24 on the title card, I'm locked in. I trust his studio. They make good stuff. I trust his studio. It's a tastemaker. Neon's not quite there yet. But now with the successful award season, you're going to consider them as a taste-making studio. And as soon as you see that neon graphic on the trailer, you're like, I'm in, no matter what.
And Tom Quinn, the head of Neon, said, look, box office isn't everything, because Anora is one of the smallest box offices for an Oscar Best Picture winner ever, right? So he says box office is not the only revenue stream. Anora is number one across every entertainment platform, Amazon, Apple. That is massive. Again, that all feels back into because people know about it, and more people will know about it because of that Oscar.
Well,
win.
let me. What little I've learned of the movie industry over the last 4 years as a company that makes movies, it's been super interesting to see the streaming services make everything shake and rattle in Hollywood. And this particular film being made cheaply, while you mentioned The Rock. The Rock is now going to team up with Scorsese and DiCaprio and Emily Blunt in a new movie that's coming out. So what's the formula now? What are we doing? Because we are at some point going to reach, whether they run the writers off or the AI takes over or we're just going to do superhero movies for the rest of time. We're going to run into a point here where we're going to have to make a choice between these things because everyone in Hollywood says that it's on the verge of collapse, that it's not going to exist the way that it's existed before, given what the streaming services are doing and given that Amazon and Netflix are basically running everything.
I think we're in the middle of the sea change right now. You're seeing more cost efficiency, and you're actually seeing what people have been clamoring for, because I think we did reach critical mass on IP and franchises, and a lot of that was the Marvel product just got so diluted. These were tentpoles that just kept the box office industry afloat, kept people employed in studios, and when the quality of those started getting diminished, people are like, what are we going to do? And it's why I touted the horror genre so much, because those can be made for smaller budgets and you can tell really creative stories. And Neon is finding ways to do that beyond just the horror genre, and I think that this might be the new model.
And I also think, to your point, like, this is still entertainment. This shit has to be good. You know, I think the oversaturation of just content in general, and it doesn't matter whether it's sports, movies, documentary, podcasts, it's like you have access to everything. And the only cream that's going to rise to the top is ones who are actually good. It doesn't matter how many big names are in it. That's why it's a quote-unquote collapse, because typically with the finite amount of options you have, if we only put this in the box office because we've paid the biggest actors and the biggest directors, everyone's going to rush to see it. That's not the truth anymore. I can sit home and find a movie like Parasite and be like, yo, that's incredible. And I'd rather do that than to go to the box office and see the big names, because I can guarantee it's a lower barrier of entry to a really good, entertaining couple of hours.
I just wonder, though, I really do wonder in the shift away from all this stuff, if I give people the option, what's going to make you happier here? What's more successful? Parasite or Paradise? A TV show in 8 parts that grabs somebody for somebody who grabs
what a segue.
something that grabs you for 8 episodes and takes 8 hours of your time. Like all I heard about The Brutalist, I heard more about The Brutalist being long than I did about it being good. And Adrien Brody, I don't know what just happened to Adrien Brody's reputation nationally and internationally, but I think he just caught more heat for being arrogant while making a speech than I've seen Adrien Brody catch for anything, as he was feeling pretty good about himself.
I heard y'all talk about Adrien Brody the other day, man. You guys.
He's still talking, actually. It's amazing.
Look, it wasn't a great look to demand more time and then not know what to do.
It was the opposite of that.
Right? But I think where he was going, and he kind of meandered his way through it, but clearly he was thrown off by the whole music thing, which was he wanted to talk about social issues. He wanted to talk about anti-Semitism. He wanted to talk about like just hatred overall of others, so to speak, in the world. And I think he had in his mind, I'm going to like punctuate this thing with this very profound speech for peace and love and all that stuff. And between him being able to get to that point, he gets cut off by the music and he got irritated and he's like, oh, don't do that to me.
I've been here before. I
Right.
know how this works.
Yeah, so he's like basically letting people know, like, I know that they're about to play the music. But having said that, I thought he wanted to say something poignant, but he got flustered and got thrown off. And instead, everyone just thinks, oh, he's just a jerk who wanted more time. It's like, he wanted more time for something, I think, a little bit bigger than just thank mom and dad.
I didn't see the speech. Was it a good speech?
No,
at least?
it wasn't.
No.
He kind of rambled through
Very
it.
bad reaction.
It was
to
like
Very bad. It sounds like
It went on for 3
Except for
minutes.
me.
They played the music, and then he's like, "Hey, stop the music! I swear I'm going somewhere with this. I'm
Yeah.
about to land the plane." And then he went on for another 3 minutes,
And didn't land
and
the
then they
plane.
played the music again.
But didn't land
That's
the
not
plane.
that's not
That's
just
not
what he
good.
did. When he said stop the music, I've done this before.
Oh,
He did it with Aaron.
and
Yeah,
he
he's
said
like
he showed the
reminding
arrogance.
everybody I'm a 2-time Best Actor winner.
Well,
All right,
no,
Eli.
but also letting them know, like, guys, I get it. You guys, we're on a timer here. I'm gonna get there. I promise.
But I have something more important.
I have something more
than
important.
anybody else that wanted extra time.
But then I got because everyone else is just thanking their mom and their cat and stuff like that because
Yeah,
it's
who
their
cares
first
about their
Oscar.
moms?
But
Yep.
if I win my second Oscar, it's like mom and
Yeah.
dad, y'all get it. But
get
like
it. We were here.
more importantly, I want to talk about these social issues.
I've made out with Halle Berry twice. Can I have more time, please? Thank you. Did he?
No, he did on the Red Adrian Brody.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think.
I was
what?
like,
You thought I was?
I was
You
about to
thought I
leave-
was breaking news?
I was about to leave the show. I'm like, Hawk, it's your show now. Sorry, Dan. It's the Andrew Hawkins show.
I think Adnan Vert called Brody the worst 2-time Academy Award winner ever.
That's not true. I guarantee I can find
2-time club is hard to get into.
Adrien Brody's a good actor.
Time.
But just good.
I'm gonna find any.
For me, it was cutting too close to the bone because I'm like, oh no, Pat Riley's hanging on to something for too long.
Gene Hackman, I think, won 2 of these. I heard a coroner talk the other day, and it's the most plausible theory I've heard so far from any angle. Coroner, they brought in some of the forensics people, and they're like, the most likely event is that Gene Hackman had some sort of cardiac episode, that his wife got scared, ran to the bathroom to get whatever it is that he needed for his cardiac episode, tripped and falls, and then the pills are found all over where she is, and she died in the going and getting of the pills, and then the dog died in the cage.
And the space heater was just there? Because the space heater is weird. Like that and what's in it for Travis Scott? Those are the 2 questions that are just like plaguing my mind right now.
I'm telling you, I just opened the list and I'm like overwhelmed by names. You want to tell me Adrien Brody's worse than Renee Zellweger?
Yeah. Yeah.
Preposterous.
Yeah, he's way worse than Renee Zellweger.
No way.
Way
What about
worse.
Diane Wiest? The worst.
Are you kidding?
The worst DA.
Don't you- Diane
Very
Wiest.
so
Diane
Wiest. The worst DA in the history of Law and Order.
No, Diane Weiss is better.
No way.
She's the Weiss.
Jane Fonda.
Oh, come on.
You have my vote.
Jane Fonda.
Hanoi Jane.
Come on. Better than Adrien Brody? Come on, man.
I mean, Jane Fonda's legacy will be larger than Adrien Brody's, but I'm going to have trouble finding the movies that she was the Oscar winner.
I'm not
in.
fond of her.
Spencer Tracy. You guys don't even know who that is.
Don't know who that is.
Wait a minute, that's a huge movie star, Spencer Tracy.
He was in 1937.
Oh, well,
Okay, well, but
what are we doing?
Sorry, I don't know who that is.
Dan, how do you know that?
Milwaukee,
Spencer
Wisconsin legend.
Tracy's a famous
he,
name.
he hangs out with Greg Cody. That's
Spencer
it.
Tracy, Milwaukee legend, local legend, according to Dan, 2-time Oscar winner.
You guys are doing this wrong. You guys are making me sound like I'm against Tyler Lockett when I'm not against Tyler Lockett.
You were very
Kinda
anti.
are.
It
Anti-Lockett.
sounded anti-Lockett.
Tyler Lockett's not eating for free in Idaho. Okay, he's eating for free in Seattle.
Give me the name of someone who's eating for free in Idaho. That's not from Idaho.
Yeah, especially
Genty.
someone black.
Kellen Moore.
Travis Kelsey.
Genty.
Travis Kelsey is a music industry legend. That's why he's eating for free in Idaho. It's not because of his football.
Ian
Travis
Johnson?
Scott.
What's in it for him? Free
Travis
dinners in
Kelce.
Idaho?
Travis Kelsey's the tight end.
Yes.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Travis Kelsey would eat for
Yes,
free
he
in
is
Idaho.
also an NFL legend.
but he
he's
would
a Hall
also
of Famer.
eat for free in Idaho for music reasons.
Do you think Ian Johnson would? He's the running back that had the game-winning score for Boise in the Fiesta Bowl and then proposed.
he would eat for
Is he
free?
eating for free in Seattle? That's the question.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely
Doesn't-
not. Absolutely not.
Tony, I teased earlier this week something that I never got to, and then you weren't here the last couple of days, and I was looking for you because I wanted to close the loop on a question that I asked you Monday, where you came in here with what I said was very bad judgment and announced to me that you had found another job.
No. I didn't say I found another job. I said I applied for another job. But again, a side gig won't take me away from here too much, but a side gig.
And what is that side gig?
I'm glad that Mike's here. So I was on LinkedIn the other day, just moseying around. I'm a father now. LinkedIn seems like an important thing for
It's what
fathers,
you do.
and for older
It's what you
people.
do.
I don't know. I'm there on the computer, like, haven't checked LinkedIn in a while. Let me see what's going on there. And then I don't know, Dan. I don't know if you've ever been on LinkedIn before. Doesn't strike me as a LinkedIn kind of guy.
National legend doesn't need to be. Continue.
Exactly.
Yep.
So they have like different things that pop up. Oh, this person said this about the stock market. I'm like, who cares? And then it's like, oh, jobs to apply for. Usually I don't look at that tab, obviously, Dan, because I'm happily employed here.
But on this day,
something caught my eye. Dan.
weren't so happily employed.
Something caught my eye, and I said, I'm instantly applying. So obviously on LinkedIn, they have easy applies where you just, bam, a couple buttons, boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, I'm applied for this job. I need Mike Ryan's help because the job that I applied for was assistant head coach of the Miami football program. And it is in right now. I sent the application, so I'm awaiting possible head coach of the University of Miami.
Assistant head coach. Assistant to the head coach?
No. Assistant head coach.
Miami, Florida?
Like
no.
Dwight.
University
like
of Miami, like my hat says, University of Miami Hurricanes need an assistant head coach. I applied it on LinkedIn. So again, my papers are in there. Okay. I don't know if you can talk to whomever you can talk to up in the front office.
So many questions.
See if we can put my stack at least, or my paper at the top of the stack.
Top of the stack.
And then just have an interview. I can kind of give them a couple ideas of what I think offensively.
We bring a camera?
Well, LinkedIn Jobs does get you the best, most qualified candidates. So I think you're not going to survive the filter.
But it also, the algorithm pushed it to him.
The algorithm was like, wait a second.
So there's something
you know something
that
about
LinkedIn-
ball, dude. And then I was like, yes, I do know
But
ball.
you
How did
believe
know
that that's a part-time job, that you're going to be able to do both jobs, just be assistant head coach over here? And
Yes, because it didn't have another position attached to it, which is the weird part for me. It didn't say offensive coordinator and assistant head coach. It didn't say receiver coach.
Nope,
It was
just
just like
assistant head coach.
just assistant head coach.
Yeah.
Just nobody to really oversee. You're just around.
See, coach says something, and Tony just says, "Y'all heard?" And he just
Yeah.
like it repeats what coach just said. That's what assistant.
Are y'all listening?
Yep.
In the back? Hey.
Yep.
Yeah, but it is
Hey,
rare.
hats off. Hats off. You know the
No
rules.
cleats inside. Come on.
I don't think I've really seen that before. Someone that's just assistant
That's
head
my-
coach.
A hype man.
I kind of feel like
Good
it was
point, coach.
assistant. I feel like it was head coach's assistant.
Assistant
But
to
I
the
think
head
he
coach.
read it wrong.
No,
I'm
I-
not going to accuse him.
I definitely did not. It was
Show
not an
me the-
assistant
show
to the.
me- Show me this job post.
While you look that up, I just want to point out real quick: Meryl Streep, three Oscars, 21 nominations. Adrien Brody, 2 for 2. You know what I call? I call efficiency right there.
Eli Manning.
3 for
So he is.
21.
He's
Volume
Eli
shooter
Manning.
much?
He's the Florida Marlins.
Wow.
You just every once in a while, there's a good year, you win an award for it, and everything else is
And guess
mediocre.
Guess what Eli Manning is?
A Hall of Famer.
A legend.
Not first
NFL
ballot.
legend.
not a Hall of Famer.
A legend.
Not
though.
yet a Hall of Famer. Assistant head coach, I thought was a big job. I don't
Well-
think assistant head coach is something you find on LinkedIn.
I have to be clear. It does not say assistant head coach.
Okay,
It
I
just
knew it.
says assistant coach.
Assistant
I love how
coach.
Tony
Okay.
threw head in there.
I saw head.
Yeah.
But Mike, is it not a real job
This
post?
is a
Yo,
real
Murder,
job
that's
post.
crazy. Murder, that's crazy, son.
He said he saw him.
Hey, yo, that's wild, fam. Okay, so you just added a head coach in there.
It does say employment type full time, but again, that's a full time.
They
of like,
couldn't get
you know.
through
But in the-
Grady Dick the other day. They
in the-
couldn't-
You guys feel good about that? Good job, guys.
I will say though, like while it's not the header, I'm reading the core job
said header.
functions, and it does say like as well as the performance of all other duties customarily associated of a head coach of a major Division I intercollegiate sports program.
Saw head.
There it is.
There is head.
I think it needs to be an assistant. I don't think that's an assistant. I don't think there is that job even open. Assistant head coach to Mario Cristobal, is that even open?
I just
assistant-
applied for it.
About the job, the assistant coach of football assists the head coach in directing management.
but
and
all the assistants
That's exactly
do
what
it.
I said.
Yeah,
he stands up behind him and just repeats what he just said.
That's the job description for every coach on the staff.
Are you the guy that like tells like, oh, this is you remind him who someone is? You're like his
Yeah.
handler almost.
No, that would be
like
handle. That's a
Indeed.
different position. Do not minimize my position, okay?
this could be analyst.
This analyst.
This could be analyst.
Hold on, no.
Okay.
I like this idea. Tony, this is what we're going to do. We have a platform here that no other applicant has.
Exactly.
We have a national big show.
International. some would say.
International big show. And so you get the audition, I think, for this role right here. So, okay. So let's role play. Who wants to be Mario Cristobal? Mike, you're Mario Cristobal.
I'm still data mining. here.
Hello.
Okay,
Mario.
okay, there
How's
you
it
go.
going? Yep.
Chris, you're Mario Cristobal.
Thank
Andrew
Applied for the
Hawkins.
position. I like what leadership by you.
Yes,
you
Stepped up.
You stepped right into the
did.
position.
We're a hardworking team. We're going to do better this year.
Andrew
that's
Hawkins, you are hot new recruit
Ooh, I
blue
like that.
chip,
Like that.
5-star
Legend.
legend in the making, right?
Legend in the making.
Damn good player that is right there.
And I'll be the father, and now you guys are on a visit, and you're recruiting. So
Hello,
go.
sir. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to
Welcome.
meet you, Coach. Thanks
Hey,
for coming by.
Your son, great. Everything I see from him, better person than even a player.
Facts.
Love the guy.
Big fact.
Well,
Brought in my assistant coach here. He's going to just be with us, helping out a little bit today.
My son, as you know, is one of the most highly sought after recruits in the nation.
Put it lightly, I'd say.
Why should I trust you to raise my son as a football player?
I'm going to let my assistant handle this one.
Guys, great to meet you. Andrew, big fan of your stuff. Listen,
Thanks,
Dad,
man.
I got something for you, okay? In this program, what we do is teach leadership. What we do is teach
Hey,
accountability.
Dad, you see what Castanet posted?
What he post? Was he with Drewski?
He was like,
Was he with Drew?
They got him on first take.
Connecting.
Hey,
Was he with Drewski?
Hey, Coach. Coach, with me here.
I don't know these young kids, these whippersnappers.
so,
Is
well,
that
we're
a Drewski? I know a Brewski. Am I right, Dad?
Keep going.
You don't actually.
I don't
Accountability.
drink. I used to, though, but you can imagine if I drank, we'd have a Brewski together.
I'd like you to tell me why I should trust my son to be in Miami. It feels like a town with a lot of distractions.
There is a lot of distractions, but you know what we do here? It's a family atmosphere.
Yep.
Okay, we take care of our guys. We make sure we got eyes on them. We got an incredible staff, led by me, of course.
Well, and me.
that make sure that everybody's doing what they got to do to get to the next level.
Okay, so
Hey,
I'm-
Dad, they asked him about if I can go down to South Beach and practice making a family.
you can't do that. I told you about that. Stop playing like that. I'm
Hey,
not
you
going to have no
know what I'm saying?
grandbabies.
These kids, man.
Now,
these
I'm
days.
glad you
Andrew, we
mentioned
can link
that.
offline.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Coach, about taking care of family. How are you going to take care of our family over here?
Me and you can talk.
We
I got-
talking right now.
I got something in the back of the trunk of the car. Deposit it. Ocean Bank, preferably. They're
what
my
I'm
people. You talk to Armando. Make sure everything's good. He'll get you a card. Okay.
I don't know anything about any of this.
Coach, I got you.
have to take an important phone
Andrew,
call, Coach.
me and you will go to South Beach.
Okay.
I'll show you the town.
You know,
Dad, I got you.
my F-150 has really been giving me problems
25.
lately.
You want a lightning one? That's yes. Yeah. You want a lightning one? That's the plug-in.
I done told you I'm playing that hippity hop. Andrew, cut that noise off.
My bad.
I'm trying to get a new car out of this.
You get two, Coach.
Future just dropped.
Now, my wife, she recently got laid off from her job. Is there
I feel for you. I'm sorry about that, Dad.
any opportunities perhaps within the organization?
We have incredible
Yeah.
opportunities within the university
good, yo?
that we can make something happen.
Now, the fella over there at
I want this little official
Florida
visit.
tells us that my boy is going to be a top 5 overall first-round pick.
Down
Can
here
you
in Miami.
guys guarantee that for us?
Ooh, I like that.
What's the job pay? What does this job pay?
So I've been digging, and this job
All right.
pays $57,000.
They ain't talk NIL yet.
Side gig. I
Wasting
told
my
you.
damn
Little
time.
side
For real,
gig.
for
I don't
real.
think the assistant head football coach at Miami is getting $57,000.
That's a nice little
You're
side
getting,
gig, though.
come on. You're getting a little on a budget.
You think less?
Let me hit you back.
Okay.
I'm going to Florida State after this. So I'm waiting for them to get to the point, but I hit you right back. All right. Please.
The fella up there, I don't know if his name is Bobby Bowden or not. But
Rest in peace,
He's
by the way.
dead now.
Oh, okay. Well, Bobby Bowden Jr. He let us know that he can take care of us. So, and that my boy's going to go top 5. So I think without a guarantee to at least, I don't know.
Name a number, Dad.
Andrew, what do you think?
I got a number 2 wins.
It'll be about 5 a year.
How about 6?
Okay.
Look at that.
How about top 3?
We are not losing this kid to Florida State.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
understand? 2 wins.
That's what Coach.
And when he mentions Florida, you say 41-17, you idiot.
That's not.
Make it
Oh,
7.
I thought we was talking about 5 for you.
I was talking. That's what I was talking about. You
I
guys
ain't
talking
want to
about-
get into my numbers yet.
How
No.
are we going to get him in the league? Who's going to go number 1 in the NFL draft this year?
I'm a
Who more?
damn
You
good
come to the
recruiter.
U.
Make them 8 for both.
This is how I do it.
8 for both.
Y'all got a recording studio?
Yeah.
Okay. So what kind of who had the best mixtape of everybody on the roster last year?
Because the fella-
I would like to also drop a mixtape during the season because that's what they say about the marketing of it all. It's like you got the most visibility at this part of the year, so I think it's important that we leverage that as a team. And I would like for all of the coaching staff to get behind the marketing.
Now,
of that too.
I see
I
all
read. I read something recently about the marketing behind the film that won best picture at the Oscars.
Honora?
And so I would appreciate some kind of investment into making sure that come to Grammys or at least the streamies.
Dad, let me answer his question real quick.
Well, hold on. I see a lot of giggles and smiles over there, but that fella up at Florida State told us he got a feature with T-Pain ready for us off the bat.
Okay.
Because he's from Tallahassee.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Andrew, listen to this. Mm-hmm. You like DJ Khaled's production work?
No.
Okay, good. I don't like him either.
Good pivot there. $57,000 a year doesn't sound very good.
This is reading more like the job posting should say fall guy.
$57,000 on fall.
Head coach fall guy.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju at Le Batard Show. Is $57,000 enough to pay a fall guy? I want all of you to notice that Chris Cody, when he looked at who should be the assistant head coach and what the job did, referenced the movie Devil Wears Prada. Where Meryl Streep needed to know whose name was approaching of the guest that was coming, and therefore, what is the name of the woman who starred opposite Meryl?
Oh, Anne Hathaway.
Thank you. Yes, yeah. Anne Hathaway has to come up with the correct name on who. That's what you think the job is?
I was doing more Veep. The guy that like her assistant, like
Jonah.
Veep. Yeah, Jonah, who's always like, oh, this is Greg Cody. You met him 3 times, like giving all the info before you meet somebody.
Jonah, who's a big fan of this show, by the way. Well, his name's not Jonah, but Jonah from Veep, he's a big fan of this show.
That's a legit part of the job description, by the way. That is not a fake
Dude,
thing.
Also, that's Gary,
really
not Jonah.
That's a real thing.
You know how I learned about that being a job that someone does?
Yeah.
Is I remember telling someone, well, it was crazy. Mark Cuban knew who I was. And they're like, hey, he doesn't know who you are. There's someone who like that.
Brian knew who you were.
Amino Hassan from Sports Nation and ESPN.
Yeah, it's like, and it just shattered my world. Like, damn.
Tony, do you have some new father observations that you can run past Andrew Hawkins? Because since your paternity leave and since you've come back, we have not talked about how little you're sleeping. We have not talked about how your life has been turned totally upside down. And you are now how many months into this experience?
9 weeks. So she's 2 and some change months.
All right,
so Amin and Andrew, both fathers, great fathers at that. Might I add?
He was a great dad to me on that visit just
I
now.
got my boy $8 million a year for himself and for me too.
And you got 2 F-150s too.
There you go, lightning.
Damn right.
I was surprised that you hit him with that hippity hop. I thought you were playing a little older than I thought you were there.
He did. He doesn't know that kid's dad is now 36 years old. He's not 60. He's me. Okay.
That hippity hop sounded like
It is time for a Stugotz.
Tony to give you his new father observations.
Nobody. That is Chris Cody. What are you doing? Just
Mario Cristobal.
Don't point at the computer.
Blame AI.
When we're waiting on you for whatever the cue is.
There it is.
Dan, 9 months. That's what they told me. 9 months to prepare. 9 months to sleep. 9 months to read books. 9 months to get the nursery ready. 9 months to get my mind right.
Get Mike away from there.
And yet, when the moment came, I was not prepared. Not even a little.
Yep.
Not for the waiting. Not for the screaming. Not for my wife turning into prime Ray Lewis when the contractions hit.
Oh, yeah.
They told me labor takes a while. They didn't tell me it's a hostage situation. Trapped in a tiny hospital room, running on fumes. A nurse coming in every 15 minutes, saying, "Not yet, Dad. Almost there." But before I knew it, there she was. January 1st, 2025, 2:09 a.m. El Rose Caladiud was born.
Yes.
A moment so surreal, so powerful, so insanely bloody that it can only be described as the Super Bowl of human existence.
Blood's redder than you think.
It's like purple.
Oh, my God.
Dark red.
Except this time, I'm not Jalen Hurts. Nope. That was Jenny. She was the MVP. I'm not Nick Sirianni.
Nope.
That was Jenny's mom who coached her through. I'm not Vic Fangio. That was Dr. Miranda who gave a masterclass on delivery, by the way.
Nice.
I was literally the oxygen guy. I was giving a little mask to the players on the sidelines who actually did something.
The assistant head coach.
The assistant head coach.
Oh, there it is.
In all seriousness, everyone at South Miami Hospital was amazing. Nurses, doctors, all the staff. I may start doing reads for them on our network, by the way. They can send me the invoice, and I'll make sure Middle Arc gets their cut. 80-20 my way, of course. My kid. They also said, sleep when the baby sleeps. Guess what? That's a lie.
He doesn't sleep.
That's video game time.
Because when the baby sleeps, you have a million things to do. Because your wife can't do them. Dishes, laundry, diaper runs, sterilizing bottles, like you're running a CDC lab. Speaking of labs, let me not do that.
Oh, really?
Go to the pediatrician for a checkup.
I really want it now.
Yeah.
What a scam. Wait for 48 minutes. 90-second appointment.
Yep.
The doctor walks in, checks the pulse, looks her up and down, nods, says, looking good. Then hits you with a $300 bill.
Just bullshit?
$4,000.
Yep.
Love you, Dr. D. I'm just doing a thing. I respect the hustle. Speaking of hustle, baby gear. Don't get me started.
What a hustle.
Car seat. Expensive. Stroller. Expensive. Baby wipes.
What?
Expensive.
Yeah.
Anything Frida. I don't know if new dad's here. Frida. That's the brand that you get all the little things. Expensive. Diapers. Expensive.
Baby wipes are expensive?
Everything is expensive.
Pacifiers. Not that expensive, actually. Pretty cheap.
Get rid of them.
Term price movements.
Everything I buy comes in 8,000 pieces. Everything I build has 3 extra screws. Inexplicably, I used all the screws. Why are there so many extra screws?
You did it wrong.
Everything they say the baby will love, she hates. And then, the crying. Por tu madre, the crying. It's relentless. It's personal. It also doesn't happen when mommy holds you. So sometimes during these crying fits, I find myself daydreaming about lazy NFL Sundays, drifting off to sleep to the sound of Ian Eagle and Charles Davis calling a Broncos versus Raiders game at 4:25. Remember Sundays? Remember sitting on the couch for 7 straight hours watching Red Zone? Yeah, those days. They're dead. Now I'm watching a different Red Zone. The one in Elle's diaper. My new life? Diapers. Bottles. Burp rags. A rotating lineup of onesies covered in mysterious stains.
Blowouts, baby.
Every single day, the same schedule. Feed. Change. Sleep. Cry. Repeat. The crying. Mostly from me. But it's fine. I love it. I'm obsessed with my little mommy.
It doesn't sound like you.
I'm tired.
You don't.
I haven't been to the gym or played basketball in 6 weeks. I smell like spit up and desiting. And yet, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
That's not true.
I stare at her tiny face like Dan stares at the last croqueta in the box.
It as in the baby.
I hold her, and suddenly, nothing else matters. I realize this is what it's all about. Fatherhood. It's exhausting. It's beautiful. It's a total disaster. And sometimes, it's hell. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the new father observations.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new assistant head coach of the University
Thank
of
you,
Miami.
Mike. Mike, let's talk for real.
$57,000 a year.